If your barber, Uber driver, random server, host or hostess asks you if they should buy SpaceX, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. And welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. You're in luck because we got another big day here today. SpaceX up another 10% in the pre-market. Options go live today. Cannot wait to hear how everyone is trading that. It's a T3 Tuesday, so we got a T3 guest. We got Anne-Marie coming on later. It's going to be a big one. We also have the start of the Fed meeting with a new Fed chair. We're going to get that information tomorrow as well. So strap in. We got another busy day coming here today. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. And of course, Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Tuesday edition for June 16th, 2026, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today, and I hope that you all had a wonderful Monday. I know if you were watching World Cup, you were probably on the edge of your seat like I was. We got another day of that here today as France plays Senegal in the afternoon. But in the immediate future, we've got market action to take care of. We got market that's got green arrows again. We got SpaceX trading up, options, start of the Fed meeting. Going to be a busy week. Going to be a busy week, even though it's truncated as we do not have a trading session on Friday. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. Nonetheless, good morning to everybody. Let's welcome everybody back. Solitary Soldier is first here today. Good morning and welcome back. Free Diddy Tomorrow. Good morning. Kelly, good morning. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. EKS, good morning. How are you doing? Derek, good morning. It's great to see you again. There was a Josh Schaefer X post a week ago about the drop down of IPOs in the first year. How would early entry into the NASDAQ affect SpaceX? We think that that's going to cause buying. See, I actually showed a chart here last week about the IPO life cycle, and we specified it for SpaceX. The move up out of the IPO, totally get it. We just don't know where that's going to turn around. And I do believe at some point it's going to turn around. We'll see what the forced buying does here. Right now, not ready to move to the downside, at least hasn't shown that yet. We'll see what today does. Liam, good morning. Welcome back. In Dubai. All right, Liam. It's hot and the sun is shining. Awesome. Enjoy. Pot G, good morning. Or good afternoon for you, but good morning for us. Welcome back. Zach McCracken, good afternoon to you again as well. Welcome back. Francis, good morning. Janie, good morning. Cad Monkey, good morning. Lion, good morning. Lion yelling, or Robert, good morning. Lion yelling, wake up, Ryan. As if I wasn't up before you today, LOL. The memory names are all going to the moon. And indeed, Micron, SanDisk, WDC, STX, all of them trading higher here today. We'll see how they trade here. Lion goes on to give us some more strategy here, which I actually really did appreciate. Lion says, I concentrate mainly on MU because it's easier for me to watch one stock. I don't want to be watching 10 stocks. And I completely agree with that. I find that when I start trying to very closely pay attention to multiple stocks, I start missing things. I start making mistakes. And I'm talking about this away from hosting a show. Hosting a show has its own problems for being on top of trading and all of that. But even when I don't have any other distractions, Lion, I agree with that. I like to focus on one or two names and really kind of focus on them. I seem to do better. Maybe that's just a me thing. I don't know. But I think that that's a really good strategy. And I think especially for beginners, don't put too much on your plate, right? You're just making an already difficult job more difficult. You're choosing to do that. I don't know that makes sense early on. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Well, welcome back. Let's see, what else do we have here? Carl, good morning. Welcome back. Bernhard, good morning. Welcome back. Linda, good morning. Welcome back. Just passing through. Good morning. Welcome back. G-Cord, it's great to see you. Azrar, good morning. Neville, good morning. Jeff, good morning. Tana, good morning. Welcome back. Durkus, good morning. JJ, good morning. Cam, good morning. Robot to Trade, good morning. Kenneth, good morning. Acorns, good morning. FMAC, great to see you. Good morning. Tyler, good morning. Welcome back. All right, and that's it. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, we've got green arrows across the board again here today for this Tuesday. S&P futures, actually, they're barely holding on to green. They're up by 0.06%. The Dow futures up by 0.08%. The NASDAQ up by 0.25%, plus 0.25%. Now, let's take a look at some cues from last session here and see where we're at today. I do have several stocks in focus here for you today. Information technology, communication services, and consumer discretionary stocks recorded the biggest gains on Monday, which pushed U.S. stocks higher. Energy and real estate stocks, however, bucked the overall market trend and closed lower. U.S. stock futures were mixed on Tuesday as the S&P 500 fell while the NASDAQ and Dow advanced following Monday's rally. Again, that has since turned to green arrows here on the SPY as well. We're still up 0.07%. On Monday, President Trump announced a preliminary U.S.-Iran agreement aimed at ending months of conflict, though its final terms and long-term viability remain unsolved. The deal extends April's fragile ceasefire and is expected to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, a critical global oil shipping route. However, both nations stressed that a permanent peace accord has not yet been negotiated. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian called the memorandum an, quote, important step, end quote, but noted that a lasting truce, quote, has yet to take shape, end quote. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.45%, and the 2-year bond was at 4.04%. The CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projection showed that the markets are pricing at a 98.6% likelihood that the Federal Reserve leaves the current interest rates unchanged during the June meeting. And indeed, we're going to get that tomorrow. We all suspect it's going to be unchanged. Now, we've got several stocks in focus here for you today. And lo and behold, the first one here is, in fact, going to be SpaceX. The ticker is SPCX. It jumped 8.42% in the pre-market on Tuesday ahead of its third trading day. Its market cap was nearing $3 trillion, which surpassed the valuation of Amazon, ticker AMZN. Again, options begin trading today for SpaceX. The second stock on our list is going to be Dave & Buster's Entertainment. The ticker is PLAY, and it dropped 11.44% as it reported downbeat earnings for the first quarter after the closing bell yesterday. The next stock on our list is going to be Adaptive Biotechnologies. The ticker is ADPT, and that tumbled 7.33% after announcing a $250 million convertible senior notes offering. The company also announced plans to separate its MRD and immune medicine businesses, and it evaluates strategic and structural alternatives. The next stock on our list is going to be Paranovis Entertainment Technology. The ticker is PAVS. It surged 30.07% after it announced a $10 million registered direct offering of 50 million shares for strategic acquisitions and working capital. PAVS is back. The next stock on our list is going to be Western Digital. The ticker is WDC. It gained 4.97% as Morgan Stanley increased its price target on the stock to $650 per share. The firm cited strong demand for nearline enterprise storage, accelerating pricing, expanding margins, and improving operating leverage as key drivers of future growth. The last stock on our list is going to be Lazy Boy, good old Lazy Boy, ticker LZB, and it was 0.053% lower as analysts expected to report earnings of 82 cents per share on revenue of $569.23 million after the closing bell today. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the SPY chart here today. We did break above the 20-day. I said yesterday, one of the big things we need to do is we need to hold above it. There was really no danger of coughing that up yesterday. We'll see where we go here today. It is worth noting oil down another 3.4% here today. So if the oil move lower corresponds with the SPY move higher, that relationship should still be intact here today. Early signs is that is what we are going to get. Easy for me to say. We saw yesterday on the big gap down, oil really kind of held 80. Today, it's actually broke below 80. So that $80 level should be a key level. It should also impact the SPY and some of the other stuff that we're trading. Otherwise, to the upside, we still have our eye on the all-time high, which is 760.28. That may be in play here today, depending on how the SPY trades. It looks right now in the pre-market like it wants to go higher. If we back out on the SPY a little bit, we can see that we're already, let's see here. Yep, we're already coming in towards yesterday's high. I have 756.68 as yesterday's high. We're at 755.33. So I would also watch that ahead of the all-time high level as a potential breakthrough level here on the SPY. We'll see what we end up getting. But this is where it looks like we did have some kind of low volume yesterday. Not expecting that to pick up. We'll actually see if the volume picks up tomorrow when we get the results of the Fed meeting. That one should be interesting. But let's take a look at what some analysts think here about the market today. LPL Financial maintains a positive but cautious outlook for the U.S. economy and stock market amid a shifting macroeconomic backdrop. That seems to be par for the course. The firm's Strategic and Tactical Asset Allocation Committee, or STAC, currently recommends a tactical equity overweight and fixed income underweight. While LPL highlights a broadly healthy fundamental landscape for the long term, it anticipates near-term bouts of volatility until the macro backdrop begins to improve, particularly as geopolitical situations like the one in the Strait of Hormuz resolve. A major catalyst for the 2026 market is a massive wave of high-profile IPOs fueled by, quote, improved risk appetite, end quote, and a healthier macro backdrop. This includes mega-cap artificial intelligence companies like OpenAI and Anthropic. However, LPL warns that this influx could test the market, shifting the narrative from AI capex is funded by profits to AI growth requires continuous capital. To navigate these choppy waters, LPL favors a defensive factor tilt. Sector-wise, it remains overweight on industrials and energy, noting that oil prices may stay higher for longer than the market currently anticipates, end quote, serving as a crucial hedge against Middle East flare-ups. Now, again, I'm watching oil here today. Oil is literally at the morning lows here, down 3.49%. So we'll see if that kicks back up here. Remember, this deal is supposed to officially be signed on Friday. It was digitally signed, whatever that means. Nobody really knows what's in the details. And as we've always talked about with these details, it's wonderful to have people at the top shouting that the deal is done. The devil is always in the details, though. So we'll see what we end up getting out of that. And before then, we'll see if the Fed introduces any more volatility into the market here. Now, I have kind of a bullish outlook here. Ed Yardeni, who we often quote here as one of the analysts, says that he hasn't been bullish enough. I imagine there are some bears out there literally shaking their heads. But he goes on to predict that the S&P 500 will hit 10,000 by 2029. How many of you think that that is realistic? The S&P 500 is on track to reach a historic 10,000 milestone by the end of 2029. That's propelled by an unprecedented wave of corporate profitability rather than a speculative bubble. And that is according to veteran strategist Ed Yardeni. The president of Yardeni Research stated he is aggressively lifting his long-term targets, admitting that he is among the people who, quote, haven't been bullish enough, end quote, on the market's current record-breaking trajectory. Speaking on CNBC, Yardeni stated that the broader market is firmly entrenched in a massive economic expansion that continues to defy skeptical Wall Street forecasts. Quote, it sure feels like the roaring 2020s are here, end quote. Yardeni said, noting that the U.S. economy has successfully navigated persistent geopolitical and macroeconomic disruptions. Rather than being driven by a speculative fear of missing out, Yardeni attributes the record-breaking rally directly to robust corporate performance. Quote, we've been in what I call not a FOMO market, but a FEMA market. FEMA meaning fabulous earnings momentum, end quote. It goes on to say, earnings have been unbelievably strong, end quote. Yardeni added that he would rather have an earnings-led melt-up than a valuation-led melt-up. He emphasized that stable valuation multiples prove the market rally is fundamentally healthy and sustainable. Despite aggressive Federal Reserve interest rate hikes that brought the funds rate up to 5.5%, corporate expectations remain remarkably strong, with an anticipated 20% earnings growth over the next 7 quarters. Yardeni emphasized that bearish analysts continue to, quote, underestimate the resilience of the U.S. economy and the U.S. consumer, end quote. A major pillar of this ongoing financial stability is an unprecedented demographic cushion. Quote, the baby boomers are retiring with $89 trillion in net worth, end quote. Yardeni noted this, providing a powerful tailwind for sustained market spending. And now with oil prices rapidly cooling and high-profile market debuts like SpaceX heavily boosting retail investor sentiment, Yardeni dismissed lingering fears of an impending summer downturn, declaring that the broader market remains completely cleared for substantial upside. So who's on this one? Who's on a substantial upside here? I feel like this is the old argument with AI, the CapEx versus productivity, and nobody really knows where it's going. What do you folks think about this? You think that this, you think there is some more room up here? What did he call it? Cleared for substantial upside. Do you think that that is the case? I could see it happening here. I could see us breaking higher here. Not sure exactly numbers-wise what he means by substantial upside, but let me know if you agree with Ed or if you are still a little bit on the bearish side. Now, SpaceX news. All right, SpaceX stock surges in pre-market. Jim Cramer says investors can't stop buying it. So, Derek, to your question earlier about being included in the NASDAQ, well, already investors can't stop buying it. We would imagine that that would kick up if it got forced buying from being included. Ron Barron, Gavin Baker hail Elon Musk's ultimate token factory. Token factory. Shares of Space Exploration Technologies, or SpaceX, ticker SPCX, jumped 10.23% to $212.19 in early pre-market trading on Tuesday. This pushed its valuation to an astonishing $2.78 trillion. The massive spike caught the attention of Jim Cramer, who noted that eager investors, quote, can't stop buying, end quote, the hot stock, while legendary fund managers Ron Barron and Gavin Baker, tracking the long-term fundamentals, hailed Elon Musk's enterprise as the ultimate AI token factory. Based on the closing market cap of $2.519 trillion on Monday, this pre-market rally to $212.19 on Tuesday stacks on an additional $258 billion, elevating the company's total market value to roughly $2.777 trillion. Commenting on the pre-dawn liquidity squeeze, Cramer posted that buyers are, quote, going nuts for SpaceX, end quote, in 24-hour trading windows. Cramer added that without heavy institutional sellers arriving to defend the tape, motivated buyers could easily, quote, walk this one up billions and billions of dollars higher, end quote. This technical surge is heavily reinforced by structural long-term conviction from institutional backers. Appearing on CNBC, billionaire investor Ron Barron revealed that Barron Capital increased its massive position, purchasing another $1 billion of stock to bring its total holdings to $25 billion. Barron strongly defended Musk's valuation, noting that the internal prospectus proves that the company is, quote, at least 10 years ahead of everyone else, end quote. He relayed that Musk is targeting an unprecedented $1 trillion of revenues in 2030, which is a massive 50x leap from last year's $19 billion baseline. Meanwhile, appearing on TBPN, Baker outlined why treating the aerospace titan as a pure launch provider misses the point entirely. Baker emphasized that SpaceX's true near-term value lies in its unparalleled speed at activating terrestrial AI data centers and deploying power grids. Citing eye-popping monetization metrics such as generating $50 billion per gigawatt on its Google hosting deal, Baker assessed that, quote, being a token factory is more than enough for the next 5 to 10 years, end quote, confidently dismissing bubble fears because the physical installed atoms on Earth will exponentially appreciate. So, Derek, I know you were asking about its inclusion there. Sure seems like some of the other investors think this has a ways to go here, a ways to go. And, you know, I see Marcus here talking in the chat. They actually acquired Cursor, which is the world's fastest growing software startup. That was a $60 billion all-stock deal, by the way. The largest software acquisition in history, paying 20 to 30 times Cursor's current revenue. SpaceX now owns the rockets, the satellites, the AI models, the chips, and it's about to own the one tool that every developer on Earth uses to write code. So we'll see if these synergies can actually reach the bottom line. All right, next story here. Qualcomm CEO, this one's in it. I actually thought this is interesting too. Qualcomm CEO reveals 40 plus AI devices for a post-app future. You guys ready for the post-app future? Stock gains 4% as $10 billion Tens torrent deal rumors swirl. Let's check out what's going on here. Qualcomm, ticker QCOM, CEO Cristiano Amon said the company is developing more than 40 new AI-powered devices, betting that consumers will increasingly adopt smaller, personalized AI hardware. Who's on that one? In an interview on CNBC's The Tech Download podcast on Monday, Amon discussed the changing role of smartphones and apps and the potential of smart glasses as the next big consumer device. Does that sound familiar? There's been a show on the internet talking about that for years, guys. Wink, wink. He also highlighted the need for changes in chip architectures to accommodate these smaller gadgets. Amon suggested that the rise of AI devices could bring new players into the consumer market, posing challenges for major smartphone manufacturers like Apple and Samsung. Now, it'll be interesting to see if those devices are actually better than the ones from Samsung and Apple. I have my doubts. Amon said future AI devices could include smart jewelry, camera-equipped earbuds, pins, and watches that act as personal AI agents, understanding user intent and performing tasks without relying on traditional apps. Quote, right now we have over 40 designs of those devices, and I'm telling you, the types of form factors are very, very broad, end quote. And that came from Amon. Now, this is interesting that we're talking about this today because I just watched an argument in the chat here about spying as it relates to Palantir. I got news for you. If you think that's trouble, you're not even paying attention to the main story here. Earbuds with cameras in them, jewelries, pins, everyone's going to be 007 pretty soon. And AI is going to be analyzing the data. The CEO further said AI agents could transform how people use apps by handling tasks directly without requiring users to navigate an app. While apps will continue to exist, Amon believes they will evolve, and with AI agents increasingly becoming the primary interface for completing tasks. Apps are, quote, not dead, but apps are going to change, end quote. Emphasizing the need for more powerful and energy-efficient chips for these smaller form factor devices, Amon revealed that Qualcomm's entire roadmap is currently undergoing an upgrade to prepare for this future. On Monday, The Information reported that Qualcomm is in talks to acquire AI chip startup Tenstorrent for $8 to $10 billion. The negotiations are still ongoing, and the deal's valuation could change or collapse altogether. It remains unclear whether the final price would include performance-based milestone payments, a common feature in past chip startup acquisitions, according to the report. Qualcomm and Tenstorrent did not immediately respond to Benzinga's request for comments, but this is a story I will absolutely update you on as we get more information. In May, Qualcomm reportedly reached a deal to supply TikTok parent ByteDance with application-specific integrated circuits, or ASICs, for AI data centers. While in April, the company had inked a multi-year deal with Snap, ticker SNAP, to power future generations of specs with Snapdragon's system-on-a-chip, or SoC solutions. The collaboration aimed to bring advanced intelligent computing to wearable hardware, making the first flagship engagement for specs. So let me know what you think about that in some of these wearable devices. Number one, do you think they're going to proliferate as much as people are saying? Number two, are you a buyer of these? Are you going to use these things? Be curious to know what the group thinks about that. All right. Our guest is here and our guest is ready. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to get to our T3 Tuesday a little bit early today. What do you think about that? Let's go ahead and bring on our guest here today, J.R. Romero. JR, good morning. How you doing?
Oh, you caught me by surprise. I was about to do some workplace Tai Chi there. That would have been embarrassing.
Well, you know what, though? I mean, that's not so bad. At least you weren't going to cold plunge while you were on camera. That would have been something else.
That would have been awkward. What's
So you
going
don't
on,
lift
brother?
weights from your home sauna, huh? And make videos about that?
No,
Just
I
asking
don't.
for a
I don't
friend.
trade from my Lambo or my private jet.
Okay, good deal. Do you want to share your charts here today? Kai, I'm going to ask you about some stocks.
Oh, sure, buddy.
And I bet that without me even asking, you can guess the first stock that I'm going to ask about. I would absolutely love to know what you thought about the SpaceX IPO and then how you look at that stock going forward. It's on everybody's mind, man. There's no way I could have gotten around that.
Here we go. Okay. The SpaceX IPO, it's a retail frenzy. Our upside target yesterday was 198 for SpaceX.
You got it.
One bar's worth. Okay, there we go. So the red line here was our upside target. I don't know, man. I have going into this thing. I'm really old, so I had flashbacks of the Netscape IPO and then Coinbase and Facebook. They only made, I think, 4% of the float available. They bent all the rules. They had a leveraged ETF trading before the IPO, I believe, if I remember correctly. Elon is a cult of personality that we get once a generation. It's generated a lot of retail interest, but there's some problems with how this thing is structured, and I believe it's you're gonna go up hard until you run out of retail interest, and then I think that you're gonna get lockups, you're gonna get dilution, and this is gonna do exactly what Coinbase did, what Facebook did, until it bottoms out, forms a base, and then becomes a leading technology stock again.
Yeah, that's kind of what we've been thinking here. Now, thankfully, it wasn't plagued by any of the technological issues that Facebook was around that IPO. I remember that too. Those were wild times. There was none of that, but I agree with your assessment. I think overall this is going to come in, and that's really when you're going to have the opportunity to buy before the quote real move. But I can't tell you when that's going to happen. We had a question earlier about this getting included in the NASDAQ and what that means for forced buying and if you would trade alongside that. You have any thoughts on that at all?
Well, it's a very large market cap, and I think it'll be wildly irresponsible for a NASDAQ inclusion this early on, given the fact that you have a Bears of Pamplona type stampede of lockup expiration, selling, and dilution coming your way. I think it would be spectacularly irresponsible to do something like that.
Okay, so you're a little bit sour on that. We'll see what we end up getting. Now, their first earnings report is going to be in the early August. So we'll see if we get a move down. Options start trading today. We'll see if we end up getting that pullback that we're all kind of waiting for. Folks, trade with JR for free in his Momentum Express virtual trading floor, June 22nd through June 26th. See how JR finds, times, and executes his momentum setups in real time. So thanks for humoring me on SpaceX. Let's get to something else that you actually do really like for trading momentum.
I just want to add something.
Sure.
I don't want to seem like a naysayer on SpaceX. I think Elon Musk has been able to capture the magic of JP Morgan and the insane vertical integration of JD Rockefeller, and is putting together companies that are going to do incredible things. But my assessment is purely mechanical in terms of supply and demand. When you make only 4% of the float available to retail traders, you're just bound to have a technical correction in the stock, simply because the float is so small. I mean, this is a tiny float compared to the that's been available compared to the general float in the stock. I just want to make that differentiation.
Okay. Is there anything that you're looking at that you like trading here? A momentum name or anything like that? Are you into any of the quantum stuff? I think it's a revival here in tech. What do you think?
I think you have a lot of very powerful continuation setups. Case in point here, Oscar Health, which has been basing from May 7th of 2024 until present day. It finally broke out. We've been in this for about a week and a half. You're about to have leg 2, potentially 3. There's a major all-time high break at 37. I think this thing goes to $50, $60.
Wow.
I think that's fantastic. Fortinet, which was beaten up here horrifically, has a 12-month base. And you've got leg 1 here, and a really nice tight narrow base with a shakeout. This is about to put in a second breakout leg here. The measured move takes you to $200, $225. SNDK, I guess we got to go in 30% increments now. I had my first target at 1601. Everyone thought I was insane. And then I said, guys, guess what? Your next measured move takes you to $2,003, and they're ready to call a paddy wagon on me. And now it looks like 2750 is next. It's just the underlying fundamentals behind these stocks. SNDK came out and said they quadrupled their production capability, their delivery capability, and we're still sold out through the end of 2028. That news came out I think a week ago.
And all the memory names are trading like this. I know that you have SanDisk up there, and that's been one of the huge movers, but it doesn't matter. Micron, WDC, STX, they're all doing the same thing on the back list.
And we wake up every morning and short this for 100 points or long it for 100 points. Directionally doesn't even make the difference to me at this point. It's just
so how do you determine the direction?
ATR.
How do you determine the direction then, on a daily basis?
Well, that's a good question. So this market has been very, very rate sensitive. The dollar index, the 10-year yield, have played a key role in risk on versus risk off sentiments, as has the war. So the big catalyst for I'm sorry about my voice. I lost it over the weekend. The big
you went to the UFC fight, didn't you?
I don't kiss and tell, sir.
Okay, fair enough.
So there's been a very strong negative inverse correlation between that and so when the market goes risk on and these stocks build enough of a base, they just tend to run. So, for example, SNDK, here you have it's not that complicated, really. You have a 2-month base, right? 2-month base creation, 2-month breakout. It's just how it goes, and then it's narrowing in scope in terms of the pullback durations as we go more and more vertical. So it's just a matter of measuring time, measuring bases, and watching anchored view ups and moving averages. Very traditional type of tape reading and technical analysis. We get it right most days, and the upside is enormous. And the nice thing about these names is if you get the initial direction wrong, the trends are so gnarly. You got 60, 70, 80 point trends. If you get the first 10 points wrong, you can always change sides. And I'm known to do that. So it's been great to trade. The Max 7's been dead money. All the focus is on the optoelectronic sector. Your LITs, your GLWs, your AOIs, and in storage, these are the weakest chains in the data center, logistics, and technology stack delivery that we have the biggest shortages in. And so you have major demand supply imbalance that's driving these prices so much higher. But
All right.
it's been a blast to trade these.
Now, is this your favorite angle of the AI trade, or do you like any of the hyperscalers or anything like that? Or are you just kind of focusing on memory because they're giving you the best setups?
They're giving me the best ATR and the best volatility. Yeah. Ultimately, all I care is, what is my ATR per share cost, right? So if I get SanDisk and it's giving me, let's take a look at the ATR is now over $100. So if I get $143, so for $2,000 a share, I get $143 ATR. I'm happy as a goose in mud. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I altered another saying, but I'm keeping it PG.
We'll keep it clean on a family show here. Trade with JR.
So volatility and ATR, these are the things that matter to me. I couldn't care less if I was trading clay futures or inflatable dartboards or whatever else. Is it moving? What is the ATR per unit of capital spent? And these things are flying.
Folks, trade with JR for free in his Momentum Express virtual trading floor, June 22nd through the 26th. See how he finds, times, and executes his momentum setups that he's talking about right now in real time. QR code is there on the screen. JR, you got anything else that you're looking at here this week? I know we've got a truncated week with Juneteenth on Friday, so it's just a 4-day trading week. We got the Fed tomorrow. We got SpaceX options today. Is there anything else that you're kind of stalking this week before we let you go?
Yeah, the energy trade. I don't think it's too late to short it. Like you have Total, for example. Weak technicals. They tried to arrest the fall here after the Iran deal. I think this has 20, 30 points to fall. I think DOCN rebuilding another base looks great. I like Twilio off the bottom of the trend channel here. I think Dell's going to reform a new basis, retaking the anchored view up here. Looking fantastic for volatility contraction pattern, rebase and a pop. Liquidia finally broke through this flag. As long as it holds 66 here in rebases, I think this one's going to 100. QURE, look at the size of this space, man. QURE through 3140, I think goes to 65 in a week or two.
Wow.
It looks so good. CRDO base rebuilding. I think this one goes to 330, 340 in the next few weeks. RCL. This is a massive breakaway gap here on geopolitical news. It's got a retest of these highs here on 356 coming in like the next week. I think this thing has been held down to geopolitical concerns. Their numbers are good with the price of fuel kind of dropping. These things are going to rally, I think. So there's a lot of stuff to trade. Our room is incredibly dynamic. If you want to trade in a trading room that is basically the analog of a chalk outline where a murder has occurred every day, you should check our room out. We are catching insane moves every day. It's basically a moving episode of Cops, but with trading. It's fun. It's dynamic, and it's a murder scene.
A moving episode of Cops, except for trading, it's a murder scene. That is, you are straight up selling it, man. That is something else right there. Let me tell you.
We're having so much, this market is so dynamic. It's a stock picker's market. Okay. It's not 2020, but if you're in the right sector with the right catalyst and the right sentiment, the moves are so wild. As a professional trader, I haven't had this much fun since 1999. I mean, it's just been.
So you are actually partying like it's 1999.
I am partying like it's 1999. All hail Prince. Absolutely.
Okay, folks. If you want to party like it's 1999, trade with JR for free at his Momentum Express virtual trading floor, June 22 through 26. So he finds, times, and executes his momentum setups in real time. JR, appreciate the laughs. Actually, appreciate the targets here. We're going to look at a lot of these here this week. Do me a favor, get some tea and some rest, and we'll catch you next time.
Take care, sir. Have a good one.
All right. That is JR Romero from T3. T3 guys doing it all of the time. Really appreciate some of the targets there. QURE to 60. How about that? Credo, which we ask about all of the time, or we talk about all of the time, thinks that's going 330, 340. Good stuff there. Good stuff there from JR. Okay, real quick, let's go back. I actually do have two more really quick pieces of news. Let me knock that. What are we doing on time? Oh, we've got plenty of time. All right, I got two more really quick pieces of news. One's about AMD here. Another is about a quantum mover. So let's just cover these real quick. Then we'll do street tweets. Then we can do ticker time and pre-market pulse and get you all set for the open here. Open about 50 minutes away from where we're at right now. So here, for this one here is going to be AMD's latest acquisition takes on one of the biggest AI bottlenecks. Let's see what's going on here. Advanced Micro Devices, or AMD, stock edged higher in Tuesday and during pre-market trading, extending the previous session's gains after the chipmaker announced its acquisition of memory optimization technology company Mext, MEXT. The stock remained near record highs after rallying 6.98% on Monday, and U.S. stock index futures were mixed ahead of the opening bell. NASDAQ futures were little changed, and the S&P futures have edged lower. That changed here this morning. Advanced Micro Devices announced on Monday that it has acquired MEXT, a developer of AI-driven memory optimization technology, to strengthen its data center and AI portfolio. Financial terms of the acquisition were not disclosed. Now, the deal comes as memory has become a key bottleneck in modern data centers, where increasingly complex AI and high-performance computing workloads require faster and more efficient access to memory. Specifically, AMD said Mex's predictive memory technology is designed to make flash storage behave more like DRAM, helping expand usable memory capacity while maintaining performance. As a result, the company expects the technology to improve infrastructure efficiency, lower the total cost of ownership, and accelerate AI deployments. Additionally, AMD said Mex's engineering team will strengthen its expertise in memory systems and AI infrastructure. So the reason I wanted to get this story was great that we just talked to JR about some of the memory names, and it's great that Lion is literally popping off about all of the memory names here today. We've talked about how this is likely going to be a pendulum that swings, right? Like right now, the demand for memory is so high, and there's just not enough of it. Well, eventually, companies are going to build more of it, build more factories, build more, make the memory work better, make it more efficient. And that's what we're seeing here. And we're seeing AMD really kind of go after that. I expect more of these. I expect more news like this, more companies to kind of tackle this issue. What ultimately does that mean for some of the memory stocks? I think they probably at some point need to come back in, but your guess is as good as mine when that's going to happen. Doesn't look like that's happening anytime soon, at least not today. All right, last story here. This is going to be about QTEX. So this is, again, another quantum stock. The ticker is QTEX. Let's see what's going on here. QTRX, or Quantum Limited, ticker QTEX, is up during Tuesday's pre-market session. On Monday, the company said that additively manufactured electronics, or AME technology, achieved a 97% yield validation at one of the largest US-based interconnect manufacturers. This milestone supports broader adoption by leading quantum companies and advanced electronics customers. The company said that the validation of QTEX's AME technology marks a significant commercial and technological milestone, showcasing its readiness for demanding production environments. The achievement, after extensive evaluation, highlights its potential to meet the growing demand for high-density interconnect in advanced electronics. QTRX continues to advance engagements focused on high-performance connectivity and quantum infrastructure applications, which are crucial for the evolving tech landscape. QTRX Quantum designs and manufactures cryogenic interconnect systems that are used in quantum computing systems. Its focus on advanced connectivity and electronics manufacturing solutions positions it uniquely within the rapidly evolving technology landscape. So I know quantum's been kind of a big theme here that we have talked about on a regular basis. Guys want to take a look at what QTEX looks like. Guess what? It's one of these new ones. It's one of these new ones, and it's small still. And look what it did yesterday, plus 70.5%. This is what the chart looks like inside. The relative volume from yesterday is absolutely going to put this stock on traders' lists here this morning to watch. And just kind of looking at the pre-market activity, it looks like we're trying the 250 resistance that the stock found yesterday. I understand we punched above it, we peaked above it, but we couldn't really close above it. And it sure looks to me like 250 is going to be on deck here again. Really quick, I at 19% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That's its first ever short interest reading. This stock has a float of 43 million on average. I know it's new, so that average is kind of off a little bit, but man, 92 million shares is its average right now. So QTEX, QTREX Quantum is the stock. We'll see if this can go through 250 today. Okay. Producer, before we do ticker time, let's pound out the street tweets. Let's go ahead and do this. All right, folks, we told you that the Fed meeting starts today. We're going to get the results of the Fed meeting here tomorrow. This tweet comes from Walter Bloomberg. The markets bet the Fed will hike again. Investor expectations for a Fed rate hike are in fact rising. Bank of America's June fund manager survey shows 40% expect at least one hike in the next 12 months, and that was up from 16% in May. Rate cut hopes fell sharply, with only 28% expecting cuts versus 50% last month. That's almost cut in half. Prediction markets also show growing odds of a Fed hike before 2027. We talked on a happy hour yesterday that a lot of the Fed watchers don't expect hikes until possibly don't expect cuts until possibly 2028. Now, markets betting that the Fed will hike again. We're going to get a little bit more commentary on this tomorrow. We should be able to make an educated guess on what we think is going to happen next. Tomorrow is going to be important, and more than the decision, it's going to be how Warsh handles all of the questions, what he says in that, his tone, all of that stuff is going to be really important. The reason I'm bringing this to you is because if the market starts to price in rate hikes, what do you think happens to it? Do you think we come in? Do you think we come in substantially? And then perhaps most importantly, if we do in fact come in, is that a buying opportunity? Folks will have to let me know what you think on the interest rate hike side. All right, let's go back to Pro here. We can go ahead and do ticker time. Let's see. Let's check on the time. So it's 8:48. So we got about 10, 12 minutes until 13 gets here. Let me catch up on some of the comments here. Unfortunately, I missed some of this. And Brian, I didn't realize that you changed your name to BJM. I thought we had a new active user here, but unfortunately, you just changed your name. Zinga 9002. I love this comment. Caleb Williams is him. That's true. Fact check accurate. So good having you here. I see there's a lot of comments about Lion living in a van down by the river. We'll probably just pass on that one temporarily. Very slightly included diamond. Cure to 60 is interesting. So let's take a look at that chart here. QURE, Unicure, is the ticker in question. The current price is $27.90. The stock isn't even $30. And what JR was saying here is we're looking for a breakout above this level. Boy, what a huge gap up here towards 66. 60 doesn't seem out of the question. I'd ask you, are you trading this? Is this something that you would swing, VS Diamond? And if you would, are you basically looking at, to me, the risk to reward here makes a lot of sense, right? Like I would trade this against the 200. 200 is right down there at $27. You're looking at maybe $1 to the downside. You want to extend that another $2 or $3, be my guest. And then you're looking at $30 to $33 to the upside. Risk to reward seems pretty good here. We'll see if QURE can break out. I would be interested in this one too. Let me know if anyone's going to trade this one. That one kind of surprised me. One of the other stocks that he mentioned there was Credo. This gets mentioned in our show all of the time. Credo's at 255. He made a call for possibly 330, 340 here on Credo. The one thing that I'll say looking at this is that it sure seems to me, especially recently, that the best play on Credo is trying your absolute best to be as patient as possible and grabbing this when it comes in towards the 20. Now, we're sitting up here 259, 20's down here at 225. So we're looking at what, $35 away from that 20-day. I don't know if it comes back in, but this is the way that I would look at it. I would say if this comes back into the 20, that's probably a pretty good reload spot. Kathy, it might be too early, but if you're out there, let me know what you think here on Credo. Do you like that 330 to 340 price target? Pantera saying, I was asking about interest rate cuts earlier. I'm sorry I didn't immediately read out your response here. No hike is coming, but a cut will happen. You're not the only person that thinks that. Based on some of the news I read, it might sound crazy, but I don't necessarily think that's the case. Forsman said the Fed needs to shed the dual mandate. Forget unemployment because inflation is killing us. Well, let's see what happens. Oil here down on 4%. Holy smokes. Oil down to a 76 handle. Oil currently holding lower by 4.3%. Let's see what kind of impact that has on some of the inflation numbers. What do you say on that, Chris? Okay, let's see. Am I missing anything else here from the chat? I don't think so. Okay. All right, folks. Well, let's go ahead and do ticker time. As soon as 13 gets here, we'll go ahead and do pre-market pulse. Also, real quick, I just want to mention, I hope that you enjoyed the direction webinar last week. This week, we have another webinar for you, and it's going to be with Tim Melvin. Now, tomorrow, we actually have a guest, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get Tim Melvin on, but don't worry, because midday Thursday, Tim and I are doing a webinar here. Most investors are playing one side of the market and missing the other side entirely. Tim Melvin and I are bringing both 6 momentum picks that are posting 50% quarterly earnings growth and 6 deep value plays trading at 73 cents on the dollar with a yield over 5%. Join us live June 18th, 2 p.m. Eastern, and walk away with the full list. So in this webinar, we're going to give you the full list of stocks there. You can reserve your spot now. The webinar is 100% free. I know sometimes we run these at night. Folks that have families and lives, after working all day, you don't have time at night. This one is going to be Thursday in the middle of the day. And don't worry, because you've got Friday off. You've got Friday off. So if you want some more of Tim's best momentum and value picks, sign up for this webinar. Absolutely. We'd love to have you there. And you folks know Tim. He likes to answer questions, even if they're not on the stocks that he's talking about. So definitely show up for that. It is 100% free. And we would love to see you there. We would absolutely love to see you there. Quantum comment from Helene. Quantum development for long-term qubit stability will change the game. It's going to be interesting to see what type wins the race, kind of like AI actually becoming AI and not just machine learning. So let me ask you a follow-up question for that. One of the debates that we've had here on this show is that quantum might actually be closer than initially thought. Right, there was some back and forth on this from people that were involved in the industry. You're saying quantum development for long-term qubit stability will change the game. Is that a near-term game changer? Is that a further away term game changer? When I say further away, I think I'm probably looking at like 5+ years, maybe 5 to 10 years. So is it closer or further away? Let me know what you think on that. Not a cat lady says quantum would be huge. This is something that we have talked about a lot. Quantum is actually going to impact a lot of things, namely AI, namely crypto. We expect it to be huge. That one of the reasons why we think these stocks are getting traded so often is because this is absolutely going to be huge. Okay, Helene, you said it's already in motion. So it sure sounds to me like you think quantum is going to be here sooner rather than later. That's been 13's position from the beginning. He actually got me to change sides on that. Lion says 5 to 10 years. And there we go. There's 13. So in the chat with you guys before he even jumps on here, that's how much he loves our audience. 2030s is going to be the quantum era. And I agree with you, Lion. We are absolutely still in the early days. I still think we're in the early days of AI. I think there's going to be rapidly evolving technology in both of these fields that we're going to have to stay on top of, and it's going to provide a bunch of moves for us here. Quantum is indeed coming. There's no stopping that. Okay, let's do tickers. Let's do ticker time. I know 13's awake, so we're going to have him here pretty soon. Got about 5 minutes till pre-market pulse, but we can take a look at some of the other tickers here that you want. We'll just start with this. Kenneth, QTUM, Quantum ETF. So I guess this is a kind of a safer way to maybe play the quantum angle. The one thing I will say here on QTUM, not long ago, like at the beginning of April, this thing was 50 some points cheaper than it is right now. So we've made almost a complete vertical run like some of these other technology momentum names. The 20-day moving average seems to be the entry trigger. If that changes, then maybe the trade thesis here needs to change. But if you think quantum is coming sooner rather than later, this might be a way to kind of play that without individual stock names. Maybe you want to do a barbell approach where you want to have an individual name as well as an ETF alongside of it. This to me looks like this is trying to break out here. So I would say this is going to go as technology goes here. RXT, Johnny. So you guys are just going straight for the movers. Let's take a look at RXT. They actually had some news. This is Rackspace Technology. Here's what the daily chart looks like. What's interesting about this is that today's move, we're actually up 20% here. Doesn't it look like we're going to challenge this recent high? Sure looks like we're going to challenge this and try to break above that and go higher here on Rackspace. This too, riding the 20-day, just going to throw that out there. Here's the news that's going on Rackspace here this morning. AMD and Rackspace Technology signed a definitive agreement for a phased deployment of 30 megawatts of AMD AI compute. Now, there's more stuff in there. The Rackspace board approves a workforce realignment strategy that includes cutting 15% of its global headcount. And on the back of that, it sees about 75 to 85 million in annual run rate savings. So you got a deal here for AMD or with AMD for AI compute. And on top of that, you have a workforce culling, if you will, of about 15%. And that's going to save on its annual run rate. So stocks being rewarded here on that news. We're up 18%. Again, just to my eye, it certainly looks like it wants to try this recent high. I would say that this is definitely going to be a key level here today. If we want this to continue to move higher, I think it really needs to hold 511, which is going to be your 20-day moving average. That feels far away because we're in a 7 handle right now, but that can go pretty quickly. Jenny, I think I called you Johnny at first. My apologies. Jenny, I got in Rackspace at 158 while working. Then I was laid off for a few weeks ago and wondering when you should sell. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. If you got in at 138, the stock is in a 7 handle here. Congrats on your 6x move that you have. That should at least help. I'm sorry that you got laid off. I can't advise when you buy or sell. I'm not licensed to do that. I would encourage you to get a financial advisor if that's what you're looking for. But what I would be looking at if I had a position in this is what I just said. Are we going to try this high here? Are we going to break above that? I have no idea how big your position is. The way I would handle this is I would scale out on a breakout above this recent high. If the stream is very choppy, go ahead and refresh. That is on your end. I've received no other complaints, and the producer is monitoring this like NASA monitors space launches. Maybe I should have said SpaceX monitors space launches. So I think the issue there is going to be on your side. All right, folks, enough of me rambling. Let's go ahead and do our pre-market pulse. $13, good morning. Happy Tuesday. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. How are you? How's everybody in the chat? Talking about quantum, I see.
Oh, yeah. We had a quantum discussion here. 13, I don't know when you joined. I actually picked one of these stories here for you today. I don't know if we've talked about this, but QTEX, is this a quantum stock that you've had your eye on at all? I could have just missed it. That's totally possible.
I am familiar with this, and I think I actually traded this last week. It's still on my my list here, my watch list. Yeah, I think I may even traded this yesterday because it had some pretty good movement. It was yesterday, not last week.
Oh, okay. This is a cryogenic interconnect system used in quantum computing systems, focused on advanced connectivity and electronics manufacturing solutions. So this seems like kind of like a quantum infrastructure play almost. And, you know, since we're having the discussion here about quantum as a theme, maybe this is one that kind of fits into it.
You said that's they provide cryogenic materials and fluids to
designs and manufactures cryogenic interconnect systems. Yep.
Yeah, because I mean you got to have very low temperatures in order to run some of these quantum machines. The goal is to move away from those low temperatures, but I don't know. There's a lot of different ways to approach quantum, so I don't know who's in the lead with that. But for now, it takes a lot of very, very cold temperatures in order for it to run efficiently.
And that's one of the things that, we talk about this being in its infancy. Very much like AI, you're going to see a lot of that stuff change, be explored and probed, and what works is what's going to continue there. So it'll just be very interesting to see how this stuff shakes out here, kind of like that one. All right, 13, you want to do movers? Do you have any individual names? What do you want to do?
Just a couple that I looked at today. SLBT and Shug P. We have some ex-girlfriends showing up here today. I saw
Shug P. I remember this. Okay.
You remember you talked about Rackspace, so there's another one. TDEX also here as well. So it's like a
and GDHG.
Oh yeah,
remember this one from Happy Hour? Golden Haven. It finally did its thing. So I'm going to start with this. So GDHD, we talked about this one on a Happy Hour show. I feel like this must have been a year plus ago at this point. And we talked about this being kind of a really junky China mover. But it had I can't remember exactly what it was. It had something going for it. And the thought was at some point in the future, we can't figure out when, but at some point in the future, this stock is going to pop and it's probably going to be good for a 2 or 3x trade. That's exactly what happened here today. Now, I'm not in this. I don't know if anyone from our Happy Hour is still in this. This was a discussion so long ago, but it finally happened. It finally happened. It popped above 550. It retraced almost the entire move. And although it's still holding higher here by 22.7%, the move that happened here this morning is kind of what we've been waiting for. There's no news here on this name. This is definitely one of the risky ones you probably want to avoid. There's no short interest here. The float's 15 million. 13, I don't know if there's anything else going on here. This just kind of stuck out to me because we've talked about this in the past. We expected a move exactly like this.
Yeah, nothing to add except, hey, look at that. It operates in the Cayman Islands.
Okay, enough said. I'm just going to keep moving on. So let's go back to SLBT because this is one that you had mentioned initially there. This is a Taiwan name, SL Science Holding. You can see they did pop in the after hours, popped again here in the pre-market right up to 2250. So about the same area where it found resistance yesterday. It found resistance again here. Looks like we had a couple of SEC forms that I haven't gone through, so I'm hoping that you have.
This is actually a SPAC that just merged.
There we go. Okay, that's what the SEC forms are for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this merged and started trading as a new company yesterday. It merged with a company. I had the ticker. I just couldn't remember the name. The ticker that it was is HSPT, Horizon Space Acquisition Corp. So that was the company. That
sounds familiar too. Did we ever talk about that one before?
HSPT was the ticker. So if you want to look that up, that's what it was. It is now SLBT after merging with this Taiwanese company that, hold on a second, SL Science Holding, that basically is focused on development of cellular and gene therapies. I think this may have an agricultural angle because the therapies are using immune stem cells to target cancer and bovine-derived milk exomes for tissue regeneration. So I'm not sure if this is an agricultural,
sounds like
or if it's just using, bovine-derived milk exomes for tissue regeneration if it's just using that for human science. I don't know. This is still so new to me, so didn't spend a lot of time going into this, and I don't know where if there were redemptions. I don't think there are. There's just a number of things that can still happen with this, including the de-SPAC process, which would take it under 10. And to that point, I think that's going to be a level to watch for, because we're at it right now. We've come down to $10, which was the SPAC price. I've noticed that when I was looking at the HSPT chart, that it seems like 12, or the area just above 12, gets a lot of resistance. So even if there is an up move here that takes us back up over 11, I still think that we could run into some trouble around $12. I know that we have a lot of wild price action here that took us, looks like we took us up over 22 this morning. I'm not sure we're going to get back up there.
Me either.
But we'll see what ends up happening. We have that $10 support area to get back up and recapture VWAP. We're going to have to get through the 65 EMA, which is currently at 1240.
I'll be honest, a chart like this is one of the easier ones for me to read in terms of sentiment. Mm-hmm. When the pre-market opened today and this thing was ripping higher, it was all being done on buying volume. Then you had a little bit of a regression back to the mean that took us to the VWAP. We see this all the time with stocks. We got another bounce there. That coincided with some more volume. But when this thing came back to the VWAP again, there was hardly anybody here. There were a few folks that tried it. We have one green candle in the sea of red candles here, and we have a bounce candle that has a tall wick at the top. This thing came back in, coughed up VWAP. This thing has seen no strength the rest of the day. Even this recent curl here that was done on a little bit more buying volume immediately sold back down. 13, I have a tough time trusting this one here today. Seeing this come all the way back to the SPAC price probably means this was a no touch for me, to be quite honest with you today. Maybe there's a technical setup that sets up here, but with some of the other stuff that we have going on, this one kind of seems a tad risky.
Yeah, I think so too. And it looks to me like it's already going away from the $10 level. And if it continues to go down, here's the next support levels if you feel like you want to trade this: 9 and 750. Okay. Beyond that, I wouldn't, there's really not a whole lot I can draw upon underneath 750. So that would be my last two support levels. And then if I was trading this and I didn't get any turnaround from there or bounce, be completely out. But this hasn't shown any signs of turning around yet. It's still on a downtrend off that high. I think this is when we wait and see what happens. If we're going to trade at all, wait and see what happens after the open.
Okay, sounds good. Lion here wants you to know that I play soccer, I run, I walk, and I take a nap every day. So if you do those things every day, you'll probably have a happy life. Just wanted to throw that out to the group there. Lion, you are 1 in 10 million. That is for sure. Okay, next stock on our list here is going to be Suge P. I like calling this Suge P because it reminds me of a rapper. But in any case, SU Group holding shares are trading higher after the company announced a distributorship agreement with Germany's Gysi to expand its portfolio. This stock closed yesterday at 88 cents. It printed 3 here this morning and came back in. The good news, though, is that it's holding the VWAP. I've got the VWAP down here at 208. Looks like it's bounced off of that. We'll see if it retests it and breaks through. We do have the volume really kind of coming in now. So that expansion of volume that we got earlier, maybe that's changing. We'll see if that does in fact change. Quick peek here, 43.11% of the float shorted. Wow. So it looks like a big step up in the short interest from the prior read to the most recent read. Days to cover actually got cut in half. So that's normal. But high short interest float on this 3.52 million. 13, what do you think?
Well, it's kind of interesting because it looks like this company was about to be left for dead. It had, been completely hammered down. It was trading, trying to hold above $1, and then we got this news. So this is kind of lifting it out of limbo. The company does have revenue. It has cash, and it was profitable. So I'm not exactly sure why things started to go south for this business. They still have revenue, and it's looking fine, but their operating expenses have exploded to where they're not profitable anymore. So I didn't have enough time to look into all of this, but that was a big concern for me, is that they started losing money, looks like sometime last year. and haven't returned to profitability yet. So maybe this Gizi agreement changes that.
Yeah.
As far as the chart goes, it's been getting support from the VWAP ever since we had this move all the way up. It took us to 312. The support is looking like it's going to be tested again here prior to the open. If we don't get that support there from the VWAP prior to the open, I think it could fall through it and make its way down towards the 65 EMA. Now, if we do get that VWAP to hold, we have resistance at 250. We break through that, I think we see 285 at least.
Okay. All right. Good breakdown there. SUGP, SU Group Holdings. This is... No, I'm mixing this up with another one that has a similar ticker. Okay, next on the list here is going to be TDIC. This is Dreamland. Now, you had said this one is an ex-girlfriend. Was this on Wednesday, June 10th?
You should know this one.
Oh, yeah, and back in May. Yep.
Yeah, this is that massive pump and dump that went from, gosh, it was just like under $1 one day, and it went up all the way to almost $30 the next day, and then the day after that, it opened at 21 and change, and gave it all back and more. So now this is trying to trade back up here. We had a gap up on Friday. Don't know what that was on, but I think that could be the reason why we're still getting this movement here. Let's see if there's any news. Don't see. It says that there was a halt at night on Friday, news pending. I don't see any news. So I'm not sure. And I didn't cover this one. So because it's already a previous one that we've traded. 1.3 million shares in the float. As I recall, this didn't have a great so it does have some revenue, and looks like they have some cash, but they are not profitable right now. Seems like they teeter back and forth between profitability depending on how the quarter goes. A lot of operating expenses in the last report. So yeah, this was one I think you just need to be careful with. Regardless, it's just look at the price action in May. Get your trade out of this and maybe not hold it overnight.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, definitely. Okay. Do you have any others on your list? CRVO?
No, I was just those two that we talked about, TDIC and RXT.
Okay, we might as well take a look at this one here. So we actually had an insider buy here, right? Looks like a director bought 2.8 million shares at an average price of 105 per share. This was news that we got in the after hours yesterday. So it looks like the market is reacting to that here for the first time. Stock was 248 at the close yesterday, went to 380 in the after hours, tried the 380 spot again here this morning, but couldn't get through it. It looks like it's going to retry VWAP here at 337. So we'll see if we get anything out of that. But this moving here on an insider buy. Short interest in this name, 4.13%, 2.86 days to cover, low and low on both of those metrics. Float here, 6.36 million. 13, I know you didn't cover this one, but do you see anything here on the chart?
There's a trend line there.
Oh, yes, there is.
Are
you doing it like this where you're cutting some of the tops, or are you going through? Okay.
Start with 420. I know Wisdom will appreciate that. Start with 420, draw it through the next peak at 555 there. And if you draw it through the price action we just had, you can see we broke over this trend line.
Yep.
Just recently. I think this is a pretty decent setup to take on the VWAP next. We could get another move through that VWAP. I think the question is going to be, is it going to hold this time? So far, since the price has been up here since yesterday, it has had a tough time staying above VWAP. So I'm not sure that that's necessarily changing yet. That's going to be something I'm definitely going to keep an eye on when this regular session opens. But you do have support down in the 3 area, like 3 to 3. I would say 3 to 315 is where your support is. You have the 200 EMA right beneath that. Looks to me like this is, we just need to make that move through VWAP. Expect there will be some resistance in the somewhere in the 340s, 350s, maybe right where the VWAP is. So we need to see a good amount of volume to get through all that, I would say.
Okay, good stuff there. CRVO on that one. Okay, Beam. This actually does have a catalyst here. Beam Global shares are trading higher after the company announced the European Patent Office granted a European patent EP, and a whole bunch of numbers, for a smart phase change composite for passive thermal management. So the interesting thing about this is actually the price action. We went up towards 180. We came almost all the way back in, but we've challenged the VWAP now. We've made 2 attempts to try and get through this VWAP, and we haven't yet, but we're still right here. So this at least bears watching to see if it can punch through this and give us a trade setup on this. Quick peek at the short interest here. 6.12% of the float shorted, 2.51 days to cover. There's some there, but it's not really a whole lot. Float here, 21 million. On average, it trades about 500,000 shares. Traded 35 million here today. So 13, I know we've traded Beam before, but I feel like it's been a long time. You have anything on this one?
Just kind of understanding what this news is about. It looks like this is regarding battery thermal management. So, maybe this is a competitor to Cooler, but the way that they manage their battery temperatures is different. It looks like there is a I get the sense that it might be software. We need to read into some more of this, but basically this technology is used to keep batteries warm in very cold environments, or insulate them in cold environments, and cool them when they're hot. So I had to read some more into this. It seems interesting. Going to be within the battery theme, I would say, but this is just a patent, so they don't have
right theme, but we need to pick through some of the details a little bit more as well.
And also this is a patent, so they're probably a ways away from having a product they actually sell. So great news. Don't know if it'll stick around. For me, regarding the chart, let's see if we can recapture VWAP. We've been hitting it for the past, the past half hour. So I would say that as we approach the open, we need to see a break through that VWAP. It looks like it's gearing up for that. I think that's what needs to happen next.
Okay, sounds good. Trout Bum, how is the weather in Missouri out there? Let me know. AHMA, this is Ambitions Enterprise Management. Look at this chart. Soon as this thing went through 240, we had a breakout and we had it on volume. So this is interesting looking. This is a United Arab Emirates company. Let's see. I don't have any fresh news on this. So this is just a mover with no news. You tell me what you found here. Real quick, though, 4.72% of the float shorted, 1 day to cover. Float on this 2.8 million. What do you got?
This may be a play that's going in light of the Iran war deal that's happening, because this is operates as a tour operator, travel agency for the United Arab Emirates.
Okay. So this a conflict resolution play, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think that's what this could be. Also, if we are going to get a conflict resolution, that should bode very well for airlines and travel in general. So I would think that some other travel companies may also do well, but this one being low price and low float makes it easier to push around. 2.84 million shares in this float.
Okay. Weather is great and the fish are on. All right, there you go, Trout Bum. Live it up. All right, is that it? I covered Rackspace earlier, 13. I don't know if you wanted to go over the chart on this one, but I covered the catalyst on this with the workforce reduction and the AI or the AMD deal. But I don't know if you care.
We had this first move that took us up to 788, and then we dropped down to 675. And since then, that range that we established with that price action has not been broken. So we're kind of consolidating right now into a bit of a bull pennant. I would think that if we do recapture the VWAP, we're breaking out and going higher. That's just the way it looks right now, because we're kind of compressing. Yeah, you see it right there.
Bingo.
Yeah, so I think that's what might happen. Now, I'll say this: whichever direction we break. So if we break the bottom end of the trend, the bottom side of that bull flag or bull pennant, that's the direction we go. If we break the upside, that's the direction we go. It's just this compression. I never really get 100% out of these bull pennants. Sometimes it's just like a symmetrical triangle that you just roll the dice with. But I get the sense that the direction that we break out of is the direction this goes. So let's see what happens. I would like to see this break out to the upside, get over VWAP and break out and get a full resolution of this bull pennant. Don't know if it's going to happen.
Okay. All right, good stuff there. Dennis saying, Ryan, check out SSPC. It's the inverse of SpaceX. This is the leverage shares 2x short. Dennis, I don't think you were here yesterday. We actually talked about two of the other ones that were available for trade yesterday. We talked about the Granite shares 2x long SPAL. This ended up being a decent trade. I traded this one, did not have it going to 40 on day one. Would have been a decent swing if I had done that, but traded this intraday. This one's not bad. This is the 2x levered long. The Granite shares 2x levered short was SNK. And that one here bottoming today. So, yeah, I'm not surprised to see more of those. Dennis, my follow-up question, what is the leveraged long? The same company's long. Which one is that? Let us know what that ticker is. I had success with the Granite shares one yesterday. I'll probably try that again here today.
I traded SNK yesterday. There was a point where it was where the underlying SpaceX was just kind of reaching a high point, and it wasn't going any higher. Started to turn around, so I was like, this might be a good time to take SNK.
Was that right in here in the afternoon?
It was in the afternoon. It was when you started to get this plateau. You got the bounce. It took it up to 1850. That's the trade I took, and then I got out, and it went right down afterwards. So
okay, so
I thought, well, I guess I was lucky.
But you know what? we talked about these. I actually talked about this with Will yesterday. These are not for investment. These are for the active trading. You actively traded it, so you're not crying this morning. That
right? Because I don't want to. I don't want to own any of these leveraged ETFs. I want to own SpaceX, but I'm not going to own it now while it's the hottest thing on the market and it's going crazy.
Okay, 13. You have any individual name that you want to take a look at? Big chart I can pull up here and step away for just a sec.
No, it's going to have to come from the chat.
All right, chat. All right, chat. It's time. We need a stock, a chart that you want broken down. I'm surprised we haven't had Broadcom, Amazon, and all of the good names thrown out here.
Because nobody cares about it anymore. We care about space now. Space is all the hot rage right now.
That's true. You know what? There was a question here about Zim. Maybe we can go to that. Someone said that the Zim deal looks like it's not happening. So this fell yesterday. It's got pounded yesterday, and it's down again here today.
Wow.
I don't see that in the news feed. Black Mamba, let me know where you got that from. 13, do you want to do Zim or do you want me to do Micron, Qualcomm, one of the other names here?
I can talk a little bit about Zim. And so
okay, BRB.
Okay. So I would love to know where the news came from, because for now, all I can see is that they're still moving forward with it's a 4.6 billion merger with Hapag-Lloyd. Sorry if I'm my German viewers if they're watching and I mispronounced that. But it seems like that was already secured for Zim for 35 a share. Now, I'm not saying that you're wrong, because obviously something's happening here where it pulled the price down significantly. But it's really fallen off this the share the level where the buyout offer is 35 a share. So there's something happening here, certainly. Don't see the news for it right away. Looks like there's some significant selling here by an EVP countries and business double. So there's some kind of fund or something that's selling this. I don't see anything else. Maybe there's this Form 6 has something here. There's an extraordinary meeting happening on July 28th regarding never mind. I don't know exactly what this is regarding, but they are having a shareholder meeting on July 28th. Looks like there's going to be some voting on our proposals for the next stage. I don't see this news of the merger being off or the deal being off, but there is something certainly happening here in order to take this down from 26 to under 25.
Okay. So we'll wait on that. They had a meeting in Israel yesterday, and the ministry opposed it. Okay. Well, I don't see that news out there. I'd like to read into that a little bit more.
But okay, so the ministry opposed it, but they didn't kill the deal. I guess there's some nuance there that we all need to work through. Let me see if I can find that if it's in local. But yeah.
And while you're doing that, I will actually take a look here. AS wanted to take a look at Ondas. Sure. I'll do that here real quick. This continues to fall here. I'll be honest. I don't think it's necessarily in trouble yet. It's done a really good job holding the 200, but it's been disappointing, right? Because when we traded back up to this trend line and we were trading above it, we were really hoping we make another move higher here. It didn't. It could not hold above the trend line. It could not hold the support at 12. It continued to crash through some of the moving averages, but so far it's done a good job holding the 200. 200 I have at 924. This to me seems to be the key level. If this breaks, maybe we test the down. That would be rough. If this breaks, I'm thinking 8, maybe 830s would be your next possible support area. Again, though, still have a long-term view on this. So even if it does come back in a little bit on that, I'd be all right. I'm trading options around my core position here. So I'm making money that way while still kind of holding the trailing piece of the initial investment that we made on this. I want to see if I can get Eric to come back on here, give us an update for the second half of 2026 and what he sees in the drone industry going forward. Maybe I'll get to work on that here, see if I can bring you that interview pretty soon.
Yeah, so, I'm finding that there has been, plenty of stories about this being opposed, this deal being opposed. So I don't know if that actually has happened yet. You're saying that there is news that came out this morning that's local. So it's just for some reason I'm not seeing it yet. Because I can see news from all over the world, but for some reason that article is not showing up. But there has been plenty of news articles earlier this year about the Israeli government potentially blocking this deal, and there was growing opposition. So that might be what's happening, but we need some actual an actual article or something that we can look at here. If you have a link to it, that'd be great.
Yeah, throw that link in the chat, or if you can't figure out a way to get us that link, we would absolutely love to read through that. Let's see what time we got. 4 minutes here. Kenneth saying FBI reveals an alleged plot to attack the White House UFC event with drones and snipers. Kenneth, the only follow-up question that I have for you on that, I mean, my follow-up statement is that thank God nothing happened, but my only follow-up question is, did they use Palantir to uncover that? Because if that happens, Lion's head is going to explode and we might lose him for the day. So I'm, let me know how that got kind of uncovered here. Let Freedom Ring. Yes. Let Freedom Ring was asking to take a look at the Palantir chart here. This is actually a pretty easy chart to take a look at right now. It's all about 125. If this thing can hold 125, maybe we compress under the downtrend and then finally break that and challenge some of these levels here to the upside. Maybe if this thing breaks, expect maybe a little bit of support at the 500. I've got that at 113 right now. Might be 114 by the time we get down there. We'll see. But this 125 level, this was a previous resistance that we broke out from. We actually tested it several times before breaking out from it, and then we used it as support. And we've continued using it as support to right up to present time. So to me, 134 and change here. If this can move through the 50-day at 139, maybe that sets up a move to the trend line or the 200-day. But more immediately, 125 support. Can it hold?
I think the 20-month SMA is the big question mark here. If we do not hold this, we cannot close above this month.
That's more immediate, 13. That's more immediate. Yep.
I think this is going to indicate further downside if we lose that moving average. It's been providing support for the past 2 months, and if we lose that, then I think we're going to come down towards 100 or 90.
Okay. Let's see. We've got less than 2 minutes till we open here. I'm going to flip over to the main workspace. I'm going to queue it up here today.
RXT is dropping ahead of the open.
So is AHMA, by the way.
Beam is trying to break through the VWAP that we talked about.
13, this RXT, I don't know what you had for the bottom side of the triangle, but to me, I think I had it just about here and we broke through it.
Yes. So that looks like we could head lower. And this is what I was concerned about, especially when it came to this formation. These are usually bullish, but I've seen a lot of times where we just get into this compression where we go into a symmetrical triangle, and whichever direction it breaks out of, that's the way it goes, at least for the morning.
Okay. All right. Real quick here. Rocky Flex says, hi, what are the ETFs for SpaceX? There's a lot of them and there are more coming online, but the two that we traded and talked about this week so far, SPAL, Sierra Papa Alpha Lima, that is your 2X long, and SNK, this is Sierra November Kilo, that is your 2X short. So those are the ones that we have actually traded and looked at. Okay, I think we're getting ready to open here, aren't we?
Yep. Jay, to your point about AMKR, that's another company that's working with AMD.
There's your bell, folks. We are open. You're welcome, Rocky.
All right, Rackspace bouncing, trying to get back into that triangle. I don't know if it's going to do that. Beam rejected at the VWAP again.
Oh, and you know what's funny about this Rackspace, actually? This came right to a fair value gap.
Excellent.
I'm sorry I didn't have this one earlier, folks. I really am sorry I didn't have this one earlier. Here's what I got for the fair value gap. We basically went right into it. It also lined up nicely with the 65 EMA. Bounce, went back to the trend line. Hasn't cleared it out yet, though.
SpaceX climbing higher out of the gate here, climbing over the 65 EMA. That's going to send SPAL up.
Tesla selling off. Ondas selling off. Palo Alto, big red candle.
And then we have the OMC meeting tomorrow. Well, it starts today, but we have the rate decision tomorrow, which I think everybody's expecting it to be unchanged.
Yep. I think we're just waiting on, and 13, you feel free to add any commentary you want to this. I think we're just waiting on to hear what Warsh sounds like.
Yeah.
See if we can gain anything from what he's thinking here. I think it's all going to be about the press conference afterwards rather than the decision.
SLBT climbing over 12, testing 13. Let's be careful with this one. This is that SPAC.
G-Man, SPY 755.75. That's the level to watch, right? 755.75 up and 753.43 down. Those are your levels to watch. So if you break that to the upside, you're thinking long. And if you break it to the downside, you're thinking short. Intraday trade, let me know.
That's a big jump in retail sales, I think. The Redbook retail sales for Tuesday.
Big pop here. Is it on this print, 13?
No, it came out earlier this morning.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm just reading it and I was like, that seems quite a big jump. Okay.
SPY pushing to the pre-market highs. So remember, we are still outside of the primary trade windows for the 0 DTE. It doesn't start until 9:35. It's 9:32. But on the SPY here, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong page. SPY here, we basically popped right to the top end of the range. Pre-market range. So here we go on SPY. Here's what we'll see if we break this here. And to your point, we're right to that 555.75, G-Man.
SpaceX coming back up to the pre-market highs, or it was a second ago. It went up to 212, backing off now. I was very, very fast. So SNK might come into play here if there's some follow through on this this reversal with SpaceX. Still above VWAP.
SPY coming up 755.70. I'm watching G-Man's level here on SPY. I will call out if my indicator gives any buy or sell signals here today. By the way, Rackspace, so when it bounced off the edge of that fair value gap, rejected right at the trend line, and it's now plunging. This literally is just listening to the chart.
Yeah, lost the triangle, shows a direction. Yep. That's the direction it's going.
Yeah, that's right. It tried to get back into the triangle, could not, and then resume the direction that it had picked from the triangle break. That's exactly what happened.
Looks like quantum names are getting hammered down. That's fine. Give us some opportunity to get them at lower prices.
SUGP looks like that's coming into the VWAP. I have it at 211, stocks at 220 right now. We'll see if that continues to hold.
We want to see it hold VWAP. I have VWAP at 208.
OBAI being asked here by Bruce. This is indeed halted to the upside, 105, right ahead of the pre-market high.
GE new all-time high. Fantastic. Also, it looks like GEV had a really good trade opportunity because that went almost down to our 850 level and turned around. Now it's back over 1,000.
I might have been spoiled on the entry just being so good initially on this 13 that I was actually waiting or hoping, I guess I would say, for lower, and we just didn't print it.
It didn't get to the 850 I was looking for. We almost got there, but didn't quite hit that. Still, it was it mostly did what I was looking for. I just didn't jump back in it, which is fine. I mean, now that you have companies that are like Velo that are going to be contributing to eating away at GE Vernova's backlog, I think that there could be some other things to look at. It's also quite expensive now. It was a great trade. I'm just kind of moving on from it for the time being.
Gotcha. By the way, on the SPY, I did get a green buy signal right here. It actually feels like a chase to me. So I'm not taking, and actually just disappeared. So scrap that. I would still kind of wait this out. I almost want to wait. And there it is again, buy signal again here, but it is unsure what it wants to do. I'm going to pass on this one. I'd actually rather see a clean break here before I try trading it.
SLBT, much better price action than I was expecting, but it's still very volatile. We were trading over almost up to 14 just a moment ago. Now we're back underneath 13, trying to hold VWAP. So this looks like it's giving some pretty good price action for trading. Just be careful with it if you're going to trade it. It still can de-SPAC, go under 10, and create problems for your account.
Micron calls. So Micron was higher in the pre-market line. What do you think about this action? Micron higher in the pre-market. Looks like it kind of ran into a double top area around here, 1130s. Came back in, held the 200 EMA. Looks like this wants to try and make a run at the VWAP, which is right around 1100, maybe even go through that here. I am seeing some calls get bought on the back of it, but it's not a crazy amount of calls. Let me know what you think here on Micron.
I'm waiting to see if. So go ahead. No, I was going to say, I'm waiting to see if SUGP holds VWAP here. If we get support from VWAP, this could climb back up, but just waiting to see what happens here. If you get that support. You were going to say something?
Oh, yes. I was just going to say that that SPY, that signal where it kind of didn't know what it wanted to do. Now we're coming back in here. So one of the reasons I didn't really want to chase it here, it didn't feel like the reversal. It didn't feel like the high quality setup I generally look. But I'm going to keep calling out what the indicator throws us. So I'll let you know. Let's see if we come back into the VWAP and hold here on SPY. That would be a good thing for a potential trigger.
SLBT trying to push over 14 still. This thing is very volatile and I'm seeing like as much as $1 spread in this. So be careful with SLBT.
See if that goes to the VWAP. SUGP on the VWAP right now, peaking below it. Joe says, Ryan, wouldn't you want to buy or sell signal that is robust over a longer time interval? Are you not fluctuating 1 second to another? Yes. So when you hear me saying I'm trying to tighten this up, I'm trying to work on the logic that makes it so the signals aren't flashing in and out of existence, for lack of a better term. I'd want it to be more confident about that. That's really where the devils are in the details. That's one of the reasons why I haven't said, hey, I've got this new great indicator that I think everybody should use. I just don't feel great about it. There's still kind of a feel that I'm going through here to kind of pick out where some of the best trades are. But you're right. I would want that. Yes.
SUGP trading beneath the VWAP. We'll see if this current candle can recapture or not. But if we start closing underneath the VWAP, I think we go down to the 65 EMA.
Okay. That was a good plan from the beginning on this one, by the way.
Yeah, just wanted to wait and see if we were going to get that weakness or not. Looks like it's happening so far. SLBT, this is trying to hold above its VWAP and its 65 EMA. And if we do get this hold, Looks like we could push into the 14 handle. But like I said, and I keep saying, this is very spready. This is, kind of be high risk a trade if you want to take it. Just know what you're getting yourself into if you want to take this trade.
Someone asked about Mammo earlier, asked to take a look at it. This spiked on the headline here that the shares were trading higher after the company confirmed a purchase order from the U.S. Department of Defense and the U.S. Army. Mammo went blammo, though. This thing totally sold off, actually went lower. This is beneath $1 now. To me, this is a no touch here.
Jay Wild, yes, SpaceX has options today, but I think they're only monthly.
Yeah, so first of all, they are only monthly. Jay had reported earlier that the degenerates really wanted weeklies and are upset that they didn't get that. Looking at the options chain here, the monthly contract that expires in 2 days, the volume is ridiculous. The volume is ridiculous. A lot of upside call buying here, too. Looks like it goes all the way to 300. God, I see call buys at 380. That's playing with fire, folks. Trevor, I don't actually, degens around here is a endearing term. It's not an insult. And on top of that, I was just quoting someone from earlier. Considers himself a degen, if I'm not mistaken.
Vuzi getting mentioned. They had that shareholder meeting today. I think that's why it's up. I don't know exactly what came out of that, but certainly there's something that was favorable there because they were trading up over 5% this morning.
13, look at this. Shug P. So it looks like on that candle, it like barely recaptured it. The very next candle, it's trying to stay above it. Here you go on Shug P. Yeah, it looks like it's trying to hold that 211.
Mm-hmm. We'll see if it can.
JD says if SpaceX goes above 325, I'm going short. Marvell getting mentioned here. I would imagine with tech's bouncing here. Oh, and you know what? So damn, I wasn't fast enough. Son of a bee. So we had a big pullback in the SPY. This actually came into VWAP and we had an immediate bounce. That bounce gave a buy signal here. Now, that buy signal, the price of the contracts was lower, so I wouldn't necessarily want to chase it up here. We're basically right back to the breakout spot that we couldn't get above. So I did get an indicator there a little bit late, though.
I like how JD Labs ended his comment with Keck. So now I want to know, what class did you play, JD?
I was getting ready to explain that Keck is a mistype for LOL, but then you just took it to the next level.
It's not a mistype. It's not a mistype. It's the language. It's what.
It's gamer language.
No, it's Orcish. It's if you're playing on the Horde side and you type LOL, it comes out as Keck to the opposing faction because they have the language barrier.
Oh, we have a World of Warcraft discussion going on here.
All right.
Bonus points to the next person that refers to 1337 as Leet, by the way, just since we're on the subject of that. All right, 13, what do you got?
Just looking at Shug P, it's still struggling with that VWAP. SLBT holding its VWAP for the time being, trying to push higher. The two that I covered this morning are basically the two I'm looking at. They seem to have the pretty good price action or liquidity. So they're the one. Well, maybe not SLBT, but Shug P certainly does. SLBT is just a spready mess, but it's going up.
SUGP, this to me, I don't trust it here. Maybe we still get a move here. I don't necessarily like it. So the SPY, I'm actually getting sell signals here at that resistance area. So that was just a very quick bounce there. Here's LASE. This actually broke the pre-market high on pretty good volume that's still expanding. It's actually not bad here.
BJ played Hunter and Pally. I bet you got a lot of hate. I'm sorry. There's a whole subculture about all this, but but I actually like Paladin. It's a fun class, but man, that class gets so much hate. That and the Hunters.
I played for a little bit. I had a disciplined priest that was an absolute monster in PvP.
Oh yeah. My wife played that at one point, and she would enjoy making mind controlling people and making them walk off cliffs.
Oh yeah, it's good times. A lot of screen recordings for that. Ondas here, love to see it. Got bought right back up, going green here, up 2%. Let's see if we can get above 10 and hold. Glad we're holding the 200-day. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, right. And then maybe if you were playing during BC, you got a lot of love because they were pretty awesome.
Rackspace here looking like it's trying to bounce from the fair value gap. This actually came down inside the gap and tested the 200 EMA and bounced from that. SPY back down to VWAP here. Let's see if SPY bounces from this area. I'll let you know if I get a signal on it.
Should P still holding the VWAP, trying to climb back up over, looks like 225. That seems to be the big area where there's a lot of sellers stacking up right now.
G-Man saying, Ryan, the SPY, the pre-market high is holding at 755.60. So we want to see that resistance level get crunched, huh? SPY just pulled through the VWAP here. We'll see if it holds on the 9 EMA. Got that at 754.60.
Rackspace with a nice recovery. This went down to looks like 618 and turned around. Now it's recovering back up near the open. So that it shows the direction. And as soon as it finished going that direction, it turned around.
SPY trying to hold here. Did get a buy signal right here on holding the VWAP.
SpaceX printed 214.40. That's the current high of the session.
SpaceX still struggling to get above the pre-market high, though.
Dara, what was the name of that rating guild? I probably heard of them. I was in competitive rating too.
It was back when video games were fun.
They still can be, but usually you're playing older ones.
RXT, that bounce is continuing here. Yeah. So that bounce off the fair value gap. Let's see if it's going to re-challenge the trend line a second time.
Yeah, 715, I would say, is the next resistance area. SpaceX news? Sorry.
Is that the cursor news that we had earlier today? Is that what he's referring to?
I saw that. I don't know if there's any other news that's coming up. It doesn't look like it. I only see the cursor as the
60 billion all stock, by the way, on that cursor deal.
Yeah, and that's actually AnySphere that they're buying. That's the parent company of AI Code Editor Cursor.
RGNT moving up. You know what? I haven't even looked at that here today. Let's take a look at RGNT.
I could have sworn AnySphere was publicly traded, but I guess it's not. Maybe I'm thinking of a different company that has Sphere in it. Exploding lab rats. Oh, I know. I'm familiar with Paragon. Well done. I don't remember exploding lab rats though.
I had a Magic the Gathering deck that made an infinite number of lab rats. That was an annoying deck to play against. That's for sure.
Is that why nobody plays with you anymore?
Well, actually, I quit playing Magic. Gotcha. 2 decades ago at this point. Real quick, off that initial buy indicator, I did get a sell signal here, but it looks like the SPY is going to try and push higher. This is that same resistance area, 755.75 that G-Man has been shouting. We'll see if it gets above that. VWAP so far is holding here, though.
Should P finally lost the VWAP coming down to the 65 EMA, you have a seller stacked up at $2 now. So even if this does turn around, it's now got a lot of supply to chew through. Looks like SLBT came back in as well. It's lost the 13 handle trying to reclaim it.
G-Man saying, Ryan, SPY to break the pre-market high. We'll see if we end up doing that there. I put the Shug P chart on here. This to me looks like 13 said, this is coming into the 65 EMA. I've got that at 173.
Okay, well, we're making new highs with SpaceX now.
Okay, let me put that on the screen here. We'll see if SPY goes higher. Still kind of watching that. No, Forsman, I do not play Dungeons & Dragons. I actually never played that. I'm surprised, given how much I like Lord of the Rings and Magic. Surprised I never got into D&D, but
there's a lot more to it. I played it, and it can be fun, but there's a lot to know.
Another buy signal now on the SPY. And by the way, when it comes to SpaceX here, who's trading any of those ETFs? And do you have like a plan that you're trying to repeat here, that you're trying to execute?
Retro. I mean, you don't need to do that. Just trade these. I'm going to be getting SpaceX at some point for a long-term hold. I, kind of wish that I had picked it up through Barron's when I had the opportunity. But that's in the past now. For now, let's just wait for the price to become more favorable. We'll pick it up. We'll be SpaceX owners. And for now, it's just a trade. It's just a trade right now. Everybody's excited.
It does look like it's trying to push higher here. Did get another sell signal here on that SPY indicator. So we'll see if this has another push here. It is still being rejected by that resistance area. G-Man, you've been all over this. Sergeant Sexy got 22% on SpaceX. I'm out until its first pullback. I like that. Are you playing any of the ETFs around that pullback out of curiosity?
Oops.
Should P still getting hit?
Yeah, I'm kind of waiting to see what happens here with the current price action in SpaceX. Maybe there's a little bit of coming in that's going to happen. Maybe to the 214, which isn't too far away. We'll see. Want to try and take advantage of that SNK trade, but it doesn't look like it's quite set up yet. We'll see.
Will SpaceX overtake Microsoft market cap today? What's Microsoft doing here today?
Well, it's above Amazon's. It closed yesterday, and in the after hours ran past TSMC's market cap. It's probably going to be a while before it gets to Google, Apple, and NVIDIA. Pull this up here and we'll find out.
We got some folks that are thinking like 250, 300 on SpaceX. I think that would be above Apple at that point. I haven't done the math, so I might be off on that.
Yeah, I think it would be above Apple. I don't know if it would be above Google and NVIDIA. Definitely not NVIDIA. So let's see. Okay, so we are closing in on Microsoft. We're less than 100 million away in market capitalization. And then it's going to probably be at the number 4 spot for a while until you start to see, this $400 prints that we're talking about. But yeah, it's looking like Microsoft's about to get the throne from number 4.
Frozen King says a while. What, like Monday?
I don't know. I do not know. Well, I'll tell you what. How about this? Longer than it took to get above Amazon and TSMC. How about that? That I can hang my hat on.
All right. So SPY kind of holding around up here. Does not have the strength to break out yet. Does not have the strength to break out yet. See if it bounces here from this VWAP. SPY coming into VWAP here. I don't know about this, folks. We'll see. Did you see that PAVS was back on the list here, 13? It's at 19 cents now.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
Everybody get out of the way of that one. It's running. Okay, I'm just kind of looking around. There's a lot of sideways price action happening in these movers, if not weakness. Looks like SLBT back above 13. When I say sideways price action, I do mean, one like this. It's been, we had this pop over the 65 EMA, and it's been just more or less trading sideways for the past 20 minutes now. Need to see a move in a direction. I would like to see upwards. I think it can go upwards based on the price action that we've had here this morning going into the open. But I think that resistance is going to be right around 15 to 15.25.
SPY week back to the VWAP, can't break the 755.36 pre-market high. Sure feels like SPY's coming back in. It is still trying to flirt with its VWAP right now. And obviously anything can change with any type of very quick headline. Here's what the SPY looks like intraday. But to your point, it really cannot get above this pre-market high. Been unable to do that. And it's still flirting with VWAP as we speak.
Oh, yeah. Jay, absolutely. The one that's been calling for taxes against the billionaires and trillionaires.
That's actually not bad. That's actually not a bad impression.
You know, he's been saying that for 30 years. And
started at millionaires, went to billionaires, graduated to trillionaires.
That is the most do-nothing person in Congress ever.
Velo's bouncing, Ondas pulling, Apple at the highs. Are we having fun yet? SpaceX continuing to drift higher to low Earth orbit.
Yeah, I know exactly, Joe. What color? You know what? If he wears an American flag tie, what is the market going to do?
Why did you have to throw that monkey wrench in there? Now I'm thinking about that. Okay. Real quick, folks, while we have a little bit of a break here, I do want to shout out a little bit of a teaser here. So producer, if you could help me with that. We have a new show starting tomorrow, and it's with our good friend Adam Mesh of T3, who does such a great job when he comes on here, and Tom Sosnoff. It's called The Drift. So this is going to premiere tomorrow. It's right after our show, right? Producer, make sure I have the time right on that. It's after Story Trading. I apologize. So it'll be Story Trading, and then it'll be Tom Sosnoff and Adam Mesh, 11 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. We are stoked about that. Be sure to check it out.
SpaceX with a 220 exactly print.
The inventor of toss? Yes, Trevor. He is one of them. Absolutely. By the way, SPY. So while we were doing that, SPY did break down. Let's see. G-Man, let me know where you think this might find some support. I think you said 753, maybe even 754. 754 would mark the low end of the pre-market range. Let me know what you think there. SPY continuing to come in. So there was one upside trade in there, but it was short-lived. It didn't really pay all that well today.
We did get some reports out of China, some economic reports that didn't look great. And these are post-doctored numbers as well. Their retail sales are down, and it looks like the country is sacrificing consumption for manufacturing. So their domestic consumption is really in trouble. They continue to rely on foreign aid and manufacturing sales, but internally they are in some serious trouble. They have a massive debt problem. They continue to stack debt upon debt in order to drive economic growth. Not good. That's going to come home to roost one day.
Yes, it is. My follow-up question is always the same, 13, when? And I don't know that I have a good answer for it. Beam, by the way, this looks like this is still holding above the 200 EMA, but really hasn't done anything yet today. Here comes 753, brand new hip hop. We got to get through 754 first. Those are the pre-market lows.
SpaceX retreating off of 220 a little bit here. Still pretty high up. We'll see if it can hold 217 for the moment. Yeah. Yes, that's part of it, Jay. There's a lot of different pieces moving, but reshoring manufacturing in the United States is one facet of it. I think it's only a matter of time before Europe finally decides they've had enough. because they are in trouble as well as with regard to letting China dump all their crap into their union. So that's really hurt their manufacturing side. I think that the European Union is going to follow suit at some point.
CoreWeave here. This thing has made a straight march higher out of the open. Let me see if I've got any fair value gap in case this pulls back. No, I don't, unfortunately. CoreWeave straight run away here. Good volume, too, on CoreWeave, plus 10%. G-Man, SPY, yay, the 754.42 was, in fact, the right support. We're basically right there. It's trying to bottom here. I don't know if I trust another move higher yet, though, G-Man. That's my issue at the moment.
SpaceX trying to breach 220. It's having a bit of a time, so waiting to see if there's actually some cooling off here that we're going to get with SpaceX. Don't hold your breath.
Okay, SPY, another pull here. This a pull on volume, kind of a nasty candle on the 1 minute, coming into 754. We talked about this being the next support level, pre-market lows. Let's see if 754 holds here.
Yeah, you know what, Jay? There's a lot of things that, and I'm sorry to any Canadians that we're talking about your country, but China has really infiltrated that country in a very bad way. There's a lot of things that they need to do. A lot. I'm not going to get into it, but I agree, Jay. Trump is going to probably hit them hard on trade.
So the SPY did bounce from that 754. I have not got a buy indicator on this. The bounce looks reflexive to me right off 754. We'll see if we can recapture the 9 EMA. VWAP next. 754.84 is going to be the VWAP. I'd really want SPY to recapture that if we're going to have any constructive move back to that 755.36 level.
SpaceX pushed through 220 in a very, very violent way and is now testing 222.
SPY is still bouncing here. Boy, that was a 20-cent move in the contracts, 25-cent move now in the contracts. It is finding some resistance there at the 9 EMA.
Yep.
I did not get a buy signal on this. I'm not in this. I'm just kind of watching the price action here, trying to hope that this price action gives us a map for a trade later in the day.
I mean, there's names here and there that are running, but it seems like a lot of the focus is on SpaceX today.
Yeah, it sure does. And SPAL, how did that do here today? Because the SpaceX looks like it's just straight up from the open.
Yeah, SPAL is straight up from the open.
SPAL 45. This thing was like $25 yesterday when we first talked about it.
If you bottom tick this prior to the open and got that $36 print, then you almost made $10 on that in a matter of an hour.
Shy, I think is what you go by. Pretty black cat in your avatar. Ryan, what's your buy indicator? So I have a indicator that runs, it is specifically for trading 0 DTE SPY contracts. So you choose puts or calls, but it basically determines a buy and a sell spot for 0 DTE calls, and it just runs all of the time. There are some other rules in this, like the 2 trade windows that basically end at 10:20 in the morning, which is 10 minutes before our show ends. And it's designed to help try and make quick trades on SPY. And it's been going pretty well. Today, not a great day for it yet, though.
This SpaceX might go to 240 before it finds resistance.
Low Earth orbit incoming.
Yeah. Yeah, it's over 200 now, so we've already had stage separation.
225 now on SpaceX.
Mm-hmm. Looks like Shug P is still trying to hold above the 65 EMA. It's looking a little shaky, though. SLBT halted to the downside. That's been enough. I think this is the second halt now. This is the warning we were talking about here. This out of this halt, we might see the underside of 10.
So that bounce that we were watching on the SPY that did not throw an indicator, straight up rejected 9 EMA. So nice little bounce, but boy, oh boy, you would have had to tick that perfectly for that to have even been worth it. No trend here, basically fighting the trend.
Yeah, Sergeant Sexy. I mean, if your plan worked, that's all that matters. All the time, do I see a stock continue slightly higher or slightly lower where I buy and sell? But if your trade works out, that's all that matters.
Ondas, green to red. Oh no. Oh no. Let's just hope we hold the 200-day. Look at the price action on Ondas. No bueno.
Ooh. I mean, I'm just looking at a trend here, Jay, to take it to 240. If and it looks like we're kind of heading there, but this current candle, we're getting a bit of a reversal right now. If we hold, there's some levels we could look at where if it holds like let's say 214 or 215 and reverses, then we might get our 240 print after that. But just going by this trend.
SPY trying to push above the VWAP, and now I am getting a buy indicator here. I want to see what happens at the VWAP. CoreWeave finally slowed down 117.84. I beg your pardon. Look at the pull here in the SPY. See, this is why we really wanted it to get above VWAP. I feel like this chop, this is the next step. So whoever asked me about the indicator, the signals flashing on and off, this is actually what I'm trying to get the indicator to handle better. Days like this, where we're basically just chopping around in a range, if you're not perfect with your entry and exit, this is a good way to just donate money to the Zero DTE fund. And I'm not a fan of doing that. So if I don't have like a good feel that we're going to be in a trend, when I get some of these indicators, sometimes I pass on them. That's the case with the most recent one. And look what happened here. Another just pull right back down to the bottom.
Netflix is through the floor.
Yeah, it is. I think what he meant is that it broke 80 to the downside, which is the case. Here's what the Netflix chart looks like. All selling volume in there.
Oh, right. Okay. Netflix lost out to Fox in pursuit of Roku.
So Netflix was going after Roku?
That's what this Semaphore article says.
Interesting.
So it lost the Warner Brothers Discovery bid, lost out to the Roku bid, and they don't have very much content. And the content they do put out is hit or miss. I'm still thinking my target that I've said for a while now. 70, I think is what it was.
I was going to say, I thought it was 70 to 75 or somewhere in there.
70. Yeah.
Lion here saying we just need to watch 754. That's the breaking point. Totally agree. If 754 holds, maybe there will be a trade here in the SPY.
So SNK working with SpaceX coming back in. Looks like Shug P is also trying to turn around here. It has the task of trying to recapture the VWAP, so that could prove to be a bit of a tough situation if it doesn't get the volume to chew through all the supply it's facing. SLBT is open and now trading underneath the 10 for the moment. It just recaptured it with a big move there. Almost took it right back to 11. Still very spread. Be careful with SLBT. It's a new issue. And here we go with Shug P trying to recapture 2. Fox is like a state-owned company at this point. Probably. I don't know. I don't trade it and I don't own it.
Yeah, and I don't watch it. So I don't even know about the product. Ryan, what are your typical triggers parameters so we can help brainstorm an additional level? So there's a lot that goes into this, but it's basically looking at the VWAP and the 9 EMA. But it's also, like I said, it's also time dependent. What I'm looking at here more than anything particular on the actual like coding itself is how do I eliminate some of the false signals that happen because of chopping around? That I haven't figured out how to do. I was actually asking CW Parker how he does that. This is actually looking like it might try and go now, though. So SPY, it looks like 754 held this time. Let me bring the chart up here. I'm not in this. I did have a buy indicator on the move on this move right through the VWAP. So I've got one here. We'll see where we end up going, though.
Yeah, guys, red dribble, blue dribble, CNN, Fox, ABC. Look, that's all entertainment. Okay. If you want real news, you're going to have to read it.
That's right.
If you're going to have news read to you or dictated to you, you're being entertained.
How much, and like the red dribble, blue dribble, what's that doing to help you make money?
It's not. It's like I said.
I know that. I know the answer of the question that I asked. I'm just, okay. I want to hear what people have to say about that. How on earth is any of that helping you make money? All it's doing is making you emotional. 755 test coming here on SPY.
Okay, so we did get a little bounce there in SpaceX. It went down to 215.80. I'm sorry, it looks like it went down to 216.01. So getting a little bit of a bounce for the moment. It's not recovered. We could still go lower.
Lion, you're still going off. You haven't answered my question. How does any of your comments help people make money? Still haven't got an answer on that. SPY continuing to march higher here. We're coming up to that resistance area. G-Man, what do you think? You think this is the fourth test of this, right? Is the fourth time the charm?
I think an eye later. All you need to do is just go on social media, or get a subscription to Benzinga Pro, and you'll get all of his market-moving tweets and our truths whenever he drops them.
If you're going to do the Benzinga Pro subscription route, I've been discovering this more and more as I continue to do support sessions with some of our newer users. If you are trying to day trade, if you are trying to trade quickly here, whether it's SPY or some of the other stuff, the tool that you should be using first in Pro is Squawk. Because between Charlie and the rest of the news desk team, that news, whether it's from Truth Social or anywhere else, Reuters or anywhere else, you're going to get that as quickly as possible from Squawk. SPY pulling back here. G-Man, that 755 spot, still a resistance spot.
SpaceX still coming back in. SNK working. SNK on its own is trying to get back above VWAP. But SpaceX coming back down to test that 216 support again. I think a lot of us are looking for SpaceX to come down to VWAP for support, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Let's see what happens when we get down there. I've got that value at 212.27.
And then real quick here, EKS, when do we get happy hour access for free? Don't know if that's ever coming, but there is some plans for expanded happy hour access if we're able to rope Discord into our ecosystem. Again, no time frame there, not making any promises early and putting my teammates in jeopardy. But we are looking at that. Mark, you guys are a second and third pair of eyes for me in this hectic game. Thank you. Mark, I've got something that's going to bake your noodle here. Just wait until you figure out that this room is actually 400 plus sets of eyes for you. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to create a community where everyone's eyes can help benefit everyone else, which is one of the reasons why I'm pushing back on some of the nonsense that gets discussed here.
I know I mentioned, we talked about this one, I think it was yesterday, and it's a penny name, but it's ripping. GPUS, hyperscale data. This is just kind of going straight up over the past half hour.
Penny stock du jour. Another buy signal here on the SPY. I don't trust it. Until I see G-Man's resistance area fall, I'm having a tough time trusting any of these. 755 battle going on right now on the SPY. 755.36 was the pre-market high. Did just get a buy indicator here for some of those 0 DTE contracts. If this does not push through that level, this thing's going to get swatted down.
G-Man, you're looking for a move past VWAP in SpaceX? And that 209 area. I guess I can see how that 209 area was support in like the pre-market. Became resistance in the when we opened, and then we moved through it. I can see that. I'm gonna go with the VWAP, and if that doesn't hold, then I'll go with the 65 EMA. The 65 EMA is down at 206.65. I'm not saying that that 209 area isn't going to work. It looks like it could, but that would be an area between the VWAP and the 65 EMA that we can watch. Looks like it's getting support right now, though.
Couple of things. CW Parker is literally posting code in the chat here for anyone that's interested. This study plots a vertical line between the bars created before and after the specified time in the Eastern time zone. Since the caution time for the bars is fixed, there's no need to recalculate the study. That's interesting. Let me see if I can play around with some of this coding to maybe help out mine. Let me just paste this. Also, wanted to mention, I was pointing to the chart while 13 was going off. Look what happened. Glad I didn't take that bounce again. Still ran into the same resistance area. So until we can clear out the 755 and change area, I think this is risky trades to take it through there. You might be stopping out of that. Yeah, and Lion, that was me. That was not the producer. That was me.
RXT unable to get back to the open. Well, we did print it, but we didn't close above it. Going lower now, losing the 65 EMA. It's actually just went lower, trying to recover the 65 EMA, but very slow moving comparatively to how it was earlier.
Jammin says, Ryan, the SPY 0 DTE needs to break 753.33 for calls, or 751. So those ranges are outside of the entire range here today. I want to see if there's a trade set up prior to that. It's just not, though. We just have a whole bunch of this chop action.
Speaking of chop, SLBT, just a lot of back and forth between the 200 EMA and VWAP. That's pretty much how it's been trading in this, going into the regular session from the pre-market. So if this continues to trade this way, we should see a rejection at the VWAP. SpaceX trying to recover, but still not moving up towards those 225 highs. Might still come back in a little bit more.
There we go. This is what you really need. Declare once per bar needs to be added to the top of your script. God, CW Parker. That might end up being one of the most valuable chats to ever be sent in the stream. I appreciate that. I know you've been coding on this stuff for a long time. Really appreciate that. And then one more thing here. JJ, this is a good question. Ryan, are you sure about the 3.5 million estimate for the SUGP float? There are other sources all saying 4,700. So that's what we got in pro here. Here's what know the float is. As a reminder, remember, float is a notoriously difficult metric to pin down. You can see that 3.59 and 0.4 are the two estimates that we have here from Know the Float. So I'm never 100% sure on the float. This is what I got, though.
My float for SUGP is 3.51 million in my broker.
I'm going to try refreshing pro here real quick. It's a good question, though, JJ.
Looks like SpaceX, more weakness coming down towards VWAP. That was a nice little SNK trade.
That was nice. By the way, Netflix is still pulling 1379 handle.
All right.
See if that gets down to your spot. VIX, interestingly enough, with all that's going on, the VIX is actually lower by 2%.
Wow, Bello had a nice run up to 25.38, and then it just dropped. Just more of this wild price action in a lot of these names. I also saw there was a mention of AMPX, that's dropping. That hit a high of 24 and change, and now we're coming back down towards the 200-day SMA. I think that's where you might see some support. So I would say somewhere between 1350 and 1450, you're gonna. I would think that some support begins to kick in there. went on a really great run, though. I think that with the space names being out, a lot of attention has diverted away from all the drone plays.
I think that you're 100% correct on that, 13. That's what it feels like to me.
And with that is, you're getting a lot of all the other themes kind of weaken. Some in the chip space, but a lot of the battery names have been kind of weakening. All the energy names. We just had GEV go from like what was 1,100 down to almost 850. Now it's back over 1,000. It's things are going all over the place. I think that NPX will continue to come back in, but I'd be looking between 1350 and 1450%.
And 13, to that point, I think they're starting with the winners, right? So if you have a stock that recently made a huge move, let's take a look at Velo. It moved from a 12 handle to a 30 handle. So what do you think people did with that when they were trying to either raise capital or just book profits? They're going to start with the ones that are up like that. So when you talk about AMPX, this thing's made some pretty violent moves. You talking about some of the other bigger cap tech that we've been talking about for a while, all those stuff have made big moves. That's what's going to get sold first.
Yeah, and Shub P is pushing up through VWAP now after getting some support near the 65 EMA. We'll see if this can continue to climb higher, but if it does, it looks like there might be some resistance coming somewhere between 225 and 240.
Barb, I appreciate this. I'm actually not familiar with this. This is going to be something to look into here. They are doing the Gauntlet 2 U.S. military drone trials right now and wrapping up on the 20th. That's only 4 days away. When they do that, they will post results. I don't know what to expect for that.
So just so I have the timeline right, they're finishing on the 20th, and then there's going to be a time where they post the results. It's probably not going to be immediately after that on the 20th of June. It'll probably be maybe days afterwards. Do we have any idea how long it would take after the results or after all the data is collected that they post the results?
And you said this was the Gauntlet 2. Let me make sure I get this right. Gauntlet 2 U.S. military drone trials. Gauntlet 2 U.S. military drone trials. Let me see if I can get any information about this. This is where AI really shines because it's basically just looking up information, and it's likely not going to hallucinate anything here. And if it does, it'll be easy for us to check that. I'll see if I can get you anything for that. Barb goes on to say RCAT and DPro are on the radar there.
So from what I see here, this is just the qualifier event. And yes, it does go from the 8th to the 20th. It's in Michigan, and it's narrowing the field of 49 companies. That's stage 1. Stage 2 is the production test. The vendors that pass that qualifier event, they're going to receive a fixed price order to manufacture and deliver 120 drones to prove supply chain capacity. So following that June 20th event, look for names that are starting to get manufacturing orders, so that they can pass that stage 2 production test. That's going to be your indication of which ones won if they're not going to announce who they are.
Yep.
Stage 3 is going to be in late August. That's going to be the Gauntlet event where these drones will be piloted in unscripted combat relevant scenarios. And then the final scorecards will happen afterwards.
That's the big one too, I think. So real quick here, as far as SPY goes, Lion, take a look. 754, we called that our key level. Broken, we're moving lower. Does not have the strength to go back up. To me, the call buying here is done. It was the put buyers that won here today. This is at the end of June 20th. For the companies that make the cut, the likely next step is prototype production and delivery validation, followed by large procurement decisions. One report on the program says the Gauntlet 2 is scheduled for late August 2026. That's what you just said, and is tied to at least $300 million in procurement for about 60,000 drones from up to 10 companies. The government uses June to narrow the field and then test whether the finalists can actually manufacture and deliver at scale. Now, what I like about Ondas in this is that Ondas has been trying to prepare the company to be able to meet scaled up requirements. So if execution goes as we hope, or as the bulls think, they should actually be ready to perform pretty well in this trial. Now, again, as I've been saying the entire time, this is all going to come down to execution. If they do that, great. If they don't, we'll see.
Yeah, so there's a bit of a timeline for us. Sometime between June or late June and late August, there's going to be orders going out for that production test. And I didn't have the dates for that. Maybe we see that happen in July. So that's going to be the production test that that's going to be the next catalyst, I would say, since this current one ends in 4 days. And maybe the ones that are dropping are the ones that are not good, that are not making, or they're not passing on to the phase 2. I don't know. All right. Nothing really looking too great right now.
No, market's rolling over here, and the S&P futures candle, we're actually broken the bottom end of the VWAP standard deviations. So this thing looks like this is rolling lower here. We have not firmed up yet.
Yeah, it looks like SpaceX went right through VWAP and other levels, but we did get some support from the 65 EMA for the time being. This is really putting on the SNK trade. It's interesting because while SpaceX goes down and gets support from the 65 EMA, SNK is going up and getting resistance from their 65 EMA. Funny how that all works out.
6 minutes till we go to Anne Marie. 13, do you want to do a breakdown here on Archer Daniels Midland ADM?
Sure, we can take a look at that one.
I don't really have anything else in the I don't really have anything else immediate here. G-Man, I appreciate this. SPY reacting to 753.43. I don't trust buying it down here yet, though. Right? Like after all of the chop that we've seen here today, I don't know that I'm ready to change my mind on that. I might be a little bit more patient and conservative with that. Here's ADM. ADM recently lost the 20, looking for support at the 50.
Yeah, they had, looks like they had some pretty good earnings. They raised their guidance pretty significantly. The guidance range is above the midpoint estimate. You can read their transcript, but it looks like they, anticipate, higher sales going forward. Let's look at the chart here. So it has been rising. Oh, I have a trend line here from one of the last times I looked at it. Let's just extend that out further. And how about that? Okay, so the trend line that I've got, I started from a long time ago. I started from, let's see here. I started from, the high from 2008, and I drew it through the high of 2021 in May or June. And that's just kind of the trend line I've had out here. It might not exactly line up with that very first peak in May of 2006, but it's still hits it pretty well. It's just not at the very top. I'm ignoring that. I'm going with this trend line here. And when I do, it looks like we've broken through this trend line in last month, and now we're coming back down to test it as support this month. So what I'd want to see is support at 77. I want to see this turn around in relatively short order here and start trading back up. If we lose 77, I see that there's a support level down at 70. Maybe there's one at 74 prior to that, but 70 looks like the stronger one.
13, did I get the trend line about right here?
Yes.
Okay, so we're looking for support at this trend line. That makes a lot of sense to me. I appreciate this too. EKS, ADM and BG have been great holds as AG commodities have been moving higher. Full disclosure here in EKS, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate this. I've been in ADM since 2020 with an average cost at 49. So EKS telling you that this is a hold. Keep in mind, he's also telling you that the buy spot for him was down around 49. We are nearly 30 points higher on this. So to me, EKS, I know it's your money, not mine. That's a hold seems like the right thing to do there.
Yeah, and it's interesting is on the daily chart, it kind of looks like you have an inverse head and shoulders that started from January 2024, and it's almost, I think it may have already resolved. Because we did get, it was a 35% move down from the neckline. So we want a 35% move up from the neckline. And we almost got that with this recent price action starting in this year. From about $65 up to the high that we made was 85. That's 32%, a little bit higher. And we would be probably at, let's see here, 87. I mean, we could still, find that support and climb back up to 87, and then we'd hit our full resolution of this inverse head and shoulders that I see here.
Okay, Lion, take care of yourself. Enjoy the France game and chill out a little bit because we're not doing any of the political nonsense tomorrow. We're going to have an early boot coming for the rear end. That's the case.
G-Man, you were spot on with that 225. The 209 we went right through, and we got support from the 65 you made. It's still very close to the 209. We got a close right at 209, on that candle, but we did test lower at that 65 you made. Either way, great job on your trade there. And were you trading those ETFs? Were you trading those ETFs there?
Were you asking me or the group?
No, I was asking G-Man.
Okay. Dollar General. I saw it on the scanner here because I had a nice little volume pop, but this is just holding here at 116. All right, 13. We're less than a minute here. We've got Anne-Marie waiting in the wings. You have any closing words for the group?
Another fun day, but not as many movers as we'd like. Still, SpaceX pretty much driving this market and giving us trades. So until we start to see some of these other names do better, we did have some of them. SpaceX is the trade, but we'll see what we get tomorrow. I don't want to delay anymore. Anne-Marie, let's bring her on. Goodbye, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Let's do it. 13, really good stuff here today. And about the SpaceX option chain. Oh, my goodness. There are lots. All right, 13, we'll see you on Happy Hour. Take care. Have a good rest of your Tuesday. 13's departure leaves room for Anne-Marie. Let's bring her on, see how she's doing. Anne-Marie, welcome. Happy SpaceX Options Day.
Happy SpaceX Options to you too. It's interesting. I'm looking at SPY right now because it was really sideways until it lost all the closing candlestick low volume that had been trying to hold in pre-market. So my thought is that it tries to get to 751 and then, or 751.70 and then 751.30. Looks like the edge. It might hold there. For grins, let's take a look at SpaceX.
I was going to say, I wanted to ask you if we could set up an options trade, but I realized SpaceX has this is the third candle. So maybe we don't have the technical analysis to do it, but we'd just love to get your opinion on it.
Absolutely. So here is the interesting thing. We know this 175 area, old resistance, new support. I wouldn't be surprised if we came in to kiss it and then moved up, because we know that's the low water mark for the first tranche that get to take their money out. So that's the first thing. The question would be, so do you want to get some SpaceX? And so how would you do that? So
well, Anne-Marie, let me throw something else in here. We had a question earlier about getting added to the NASDAQ.
Yes.
And what the forced buying might be. So might we be able to incorporate that into the trade plan here? And we're going to have to do something about the text size.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Potentially, yes. So if you are, let's try extra large and see if we can actually see the prices.
I'm sorry, I have to read this comment out because this is too funny. They're teasing this peace deal like it's Grand Theft Auto 6.
Okay, that's hilarious.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, that is very funny. So here is the thought process in terms of overall motion. If per happenstance we see forced buying, what we really want to do is take a look at the beginning volume of this candlestick right here. This one is carrying 131 million shares. Comparatively speaking, the next one would be 68 million shares. So in the first hour of trading, that's a gigantic candle motion. So easy way to look at that, if you're a person like me that likes using measured moves, then you take that highest volume and you draw Fibonacci. And you can see how well it's holding right here at the 250 edge and the 200 edge. The question might be, if there is forced buying, where could we go? And the 600 is up at 337. So the question is, how long? And can you pull a Paul Tudor Jones and get an asymmetric bet in your favor? Now, the cost of these options going to make that a little bit tough. And so if per happenstance, somebody's up at 250 already, right? That's the volume today.
And are you looking at the contract? Oh, that's September. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at September. We want to give it time to move, is my thought. You could do that if you said, hey, I want to do the 250, 300 spread. It's $1,000, $1,080. If you wanted to do the 300, where did I say the 600 was? 350, maybe, big fat round number. You could do the 300, 350 spread for 605. So a $600 bet in the market says that it expands up through those edges, just from a regular perspective. Having a butterfly close here would be very hard because we don't have open interest and the market makers are just putting their books together. So a spread might be your best bet. To me, my thought would be into September, and because the vol is fairly high, I would say, hey, I'm going to sell the 135 puts for 950, right? And so that commits me to picking up the stock at 135 if it comes back in, which is the initial price, plus about a $10 discount, which would really give it to me at 125. And at that point, I can sell options on it if it starts jockeying around and losing any more premium. My thought would be, we know that SpaceX is purporting itself as a unicorn, but it's got negative cash flow, and it truly is in sort of a hype space. And so the goal would be, maybe you do a condor if you don't want to put in as much as 605, but you do a condor and you go to September and you say, okay, I'll buy the 300 to 350s and I'll sell the 370s to 380s. Oh, wow, that doesn't give me any credit. That's awful. So we would need, it would be tough. If you did a short spread to at least pay for part of the long spread, I mean, they are not making it easy here at all. So, unless, you did a butterfly in two separate spreads and you bought the 300, sold the 350, and then maybe sold the 350 and bought the 355. Now, what does that do? Well, you've got $500 difference and you've got $1 of a credit. If your condor, let's say SpaceX goes to 400, you are still going to make a fair bit of cash here because, and let me show you what this looks like. If we go over here to the risk profile, you're going to see the further in time we go, you're going to have a really nice risk reward event to the tune of about $4,000 at the top edge of the space. And as it moves down, you're still going to collect that 3,500 less what you spent, which is essentially $500. So if you're looking to spend at least $500, you can get yourself involved in there and just put two different spreads on, and put on a long call spread and then a short call spread. But you give it to yourself, so, hey, listen, if it rockets to the north, I make a ton of cash. And if it falls to the floor, I'm only out $500. Pretty asymmetric if you're looking for that kind of motion.
Let me ask you a question. One of the things that we have been talking about earlier is that we all kind of want some type of SpaceX investment at some point. But we're all aware of the IPO life cycle, where you have that initial pop from the hype, then the pullback down, then the base, then the real move. So the Trey here has an interesting question. And Trey, I'm sorry it took me so long to get to this. I think this question is really interesting. Trey says, Ryan, what about just keep selling 35 days of one puts or puts at 130? So he's looking at selling the 130 puts that have about 35 days on them while the volume is high. What do you think about this? Because on the surface, this sounds like, well, I'm going to sell the puts. If it keeps moving higher, I'm never going to pay that back. If it comes down and I get put to the stock, well, I want it for an investment at a lower price anyway. Am I happy with 130? What do you think about this, Anne-Marie?
I like this. I do have a question here. While the vol is high, do you mean volatility? I don't think that's ever going to go down. And indeed, if this goes wonky, you better be ready to take possession at 130, because even though you collected a certain amount of premium, price action could fade, come in, and then if you just wanted to buy the putback for profit, it might you might never get the opportunity to do that. So yes, I like that. That would be a small version of potentially a calendar wheel. So if we look at, they don't have 35 because they're only doing monthly. I have no idea how long it'll take them to get to weeklies. But if you do monthlies and you say, hey, I want to sell the 130s, that's only a $5 spread. So that's pretty good if you're asking me.
Yeah,
right.
And really quick, just to kind of, so he said volatility, correct? So you were asking, what do you mean by high vol? He said volatility, that's correct. And he said he based this off of me asking about, hey, where would you folks want to buy this? So again, the big thought process here says we want this lower. So to your point, Anne-Marie, you have to make sure that you're okay with getting put to it at 130. That's going to be the key here on this trade. If you're not okay with this doesn't make sense to take.
Yeah, exactly. So here is sort of the devil's advocate edge of this 130 put. So let's say you get it for 215 for July, and then you come into August and the stock moves, back above 230 or whatever. And so you cover the one in July and you roll to August, but you're still trying to use that 130 put. You're probably going to be getting less than $2. Just saying. So now if it comes in, you could get more than that. But if it keeps running up, you're going to get less than that. So it might not be a bad idea to move yourself onto a 90-day cycle where 30 days from expiration, you get to look at the put and go, okay, am I going to hold this? Am I making money? Am I going to see if I can get put to it? Or do I roll it into, December or whatever the case may be? So from that perspective, I think you're going to collect a bit more premium if the price action continues to move to the north. If the price action starts fading, it's going to be a really nice idea to do this every 35 days. Okay. So it really depends how you think about it.
Okay. Good stuff, though, Trey. Appreciate that.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, that really
That
was.
was a great question.
And by the way,
So,
I just want to say this now before I run out of time here at the end. For any of you folks that are newer and kind of into the whole learning aspect that we try here, I would implore you to screenshot the chats between Cell and EKS right now. A lot of really good information on fundamentals there. It looks like you guys are discussing CAGR there, compounded annual growth rate. So if those of you that are looking for this EKS, I really appreciate discussions like this. I know we don't focus on it a lot here, but for those of you that are new, you might want to screenshot that really great conversation going on. Emery, I'm sorry to interrupt.
no
Just thought I might
worries.
shut that
That's
up.
great. That's a great, I mean, the community of Benzinga Pro is so tremendous.
And we're
So
trying to raise that
tremendous.
tide every day. That's
Yeah.
the battle every day. So
Yeah. So a couple of things in terms of broad market motion, and let me go here for a little bit, and let's go back to SPY. And the one thing that came across a news event yesterday for me that I found to be incredibly important was CTAs set to cover a lot of their upside pressure that they took in the last fade down in a rotation up into a depressed or diminished holding capacity, because we have the FOMC ahead and price action is supposed to be fairly sideways. So here's what we notice. This is yesterday's formation, and the volume yesterday on the opening candlestick was 4.8 million. Today, it's 3, just over 3. The volume today is very damp. And that's why price action is doing this a bit, because a lot of people are like, yeah, I've got an expiration coming on Friday. It's a quarter, or Thursday. It's a quarterly expiration. So there's going to be a lot of dividend assignment. That's the next thing. CTAs are set to cover their long positions over the coming week. Vixpiration occurs next week. And so all of these things in here are telling us, hey, those volatility bands could easily expand wider. And so the number one thing for traders right here is you're going to have to be quick or you're going to be dead. And so if you're staring down, hey, what do? I don't want to miss out from this great big run. Just remember that what we just did in the last day was work through this June 5th candlestick that carried an extraordinary amount of selling volume. And not only was it much bigger in general, it occurred in a space of time through the course of time at all 30-minute segments of the day. They were selling all day long. And so this yesterday morning on the gap up, we held a close above this 752 area. If we close below 752, the sellers are going to try and pounce on this again. And then we're going to be looking at that 50% marker at 745 to put us in a sideways pocket. So a lot of known unknowns coming, and certainly, we'd love the deal to be done, but chances are it's just going to be an ongoing quagmire. And so we'll just have to see. I expect a lot of hype into the July 4 event, because it's our 250 year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what that's called. Whatever centennial and partial centennial thing we are looking at. And then after that, after the big whatever, so everybody can go, our stock market's the greatest and our whatevers. And then we're going to have ourselves another little unwind in general. So I would be, I am You know, I'm as skittish as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
You
As
have the best one-liners of all time. Of all time. By the way, the word that you were looking for is semi-quincentennial.
oh, thank you. And I don't feel bad for not knowing that word. I do not.
Okay.
So we could talk about this is very interesting right here. These were green, sort of, this morning, and now they are moving down a little bit, pulling into support actions. I was listening to your show all morning this morning. I just wasn't chatty. And I was listening to your commentary on Palantir, and it's totally got to hold. And I own Ondas, but they won't let me sell any options against it in Tasty Trade because they want it to be closing only. So I find that to be super interesting. I'm super glad that you have some options on that.
I've
But
sold options against my stock on Schwab.
yeah, I don't know why it is with Tasty Trade. I think there's something on their books that they just want to get rid of. You know what I
Got it.
mean?
Yeah, okay.
Their risk guys in the back room are saying, no, we're not doing any more of that because we got ourselves too exposed. But this is just a guess. So what I find to be very interesting is how green utilities are and how green staples are today. And this to me says risk off, which would imply that the VIX should be up, but the VIX is also down.
Right.
And so we really are seeing people start to hedge into the end of the week. We have no idea whether we're going to meet a dove or a hawk in Warsh.
Yep.
Which makes me laugh all the time because I know a lot of people from St. Louis, and that's how they say they're going to do their clothes. They say, I'm going to wash my clothes. So every time I hear the word wash, I think about washing machine because of the way those, and folks that you guys know, you say wash. It's just like how people in Boston say things, only not like that. Okay,
Hanging the
so
Oz.
yes. So what would you like to look at something that might be value related or something where you go, hey, let's just see if we can follow the big shiny thing? My question would be, are SanDisk or Seagate going to do a 10-for-1 reverse split?
I think they should.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if
Yeah.
they will.
Yeah. It feels like they want to. Yeah, I like Corning. It's a very boring stock, but anytime it pulls back, I normally sell puts against it. Why? Because glass and all the kind of cool stuff they have going on with optical and that sort of thing spreading into the photonics place is great. And so I like them, but not to rush out and buy. And then,
Yeah.
if you're thinking about anything, you're like, who cares about anything else? Let's just look at how SpaceX is going. And really, it's hard to, it's, you're like the ugly girl at the beauty contest where people are like, oh, I'm sorry. They just let her in because they felt sorry for her. And that's like everybody else in the stock market right now, except for SpaceX. Everybody's like, oh, look at the pretty girl.
Just a quick error to clean up here. She did indeed make a misspeak. Sorry about that. You meant a forward split, not a reverse split.
Yes,
you knew what we
sorry.
were talking about.
Yes,
though. You knew what we were
thank
talking
you.
about.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
I was just thinking about reverse splits.
So
that.
what do you folks want to see? You want a value name or you want the big shiny thing? And
Let me guess.
Help us out. Help us out. Throw some tickers out here. Well, I'd love to see what you guys
what do we
want to
have?
do.
What do we have on earnings in the next little bit? Whoa, look at that. 2,000. That's kind of a big sell right there. 2,000 shares. People are going in and out. They're buying 1,000, selling 1,000, buying 1,000, selling 1,000. Yeah.
All right. What do
Okay.
we have for earnings? Let's take a look. Earnings season's kind of winding down here,
Yeah.
but let's do this through the end of the week here. Let's
Well,
sort them.
let's talk about who just reported. That's always great for me because
Okay.
I get my setups that way.
Okay. Otherwise, Accenture, or maybe even Kroger, that might double as the value name. Those are going to be the ones that are still left to report here this week. As far as the ones that reported, let's take a look. Let's go instead. Let's change the date from yesterday to today. And obviously, we don't want anything in the after hours. So, and today is the 16th. So, we don't want anything in the after hours. So, that eliminates Lazy Boy. Otherwise, we're all good. So, here you go. John Wiley and Sons, nobody gives a damn about that. Bit Ventures, nobody cares. Dave and Buster's just reported they got pounded.
Oh yeah, retail is going to get smashed between this quarter and the next quarter because all the forward guidance they've been throwing out has been awful. Because the part of the economy that spends most of their money outdoor fast casual is feeling the pinch because, CPI is X food and energy. It's not really showing us how constrained that consumer is. So I would say any of those guys we would expect any kind of reflexive bounce for them to be sold off.
And then the other option we have is Micron because they report
right,
next week.
Yeah, let's do
And
it.
that's the big shiny thing.
Yeah, the next big shiny thing. So here's something interesting. So about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, I said to myself, how many days ago was it? I think it was like somewhere around here when we came back to 880. I was like, yeah, I'm going to sell a 1,000 spread, right? I'm going to sell the 1030s and buy the 1050s. It's never getting there.
Oops.
Oh my gosh. So it's going to be nice if it comes back in, but it is pretty expanded. So if, of course, they're going to report gangbusters, the question might be from the last time they reported to this time they reported, are any new things in the way that might tell people, hey, it's time to ring the register so I can go buy some of this other stuff. See who else is in competition with them, because they really are. They've had great numbers. They've presented really well, and literally every single earnings of late, any dip has been bought. So this is a really big expansion up into the 1100 area. So any gap down ought to be bought. The question is, are you thinking that there might be a gap up? And so let's see what the traders are thinking. And then let's realize that what we're staring down is the tail wagging the dog. So let's go to the 26th first. And let's see where the open interest is and where the volume is that might force the market makers to buy stock or sell stock based on what the price flows are like. So we've moved in the 1,000. There's 5,000 of open interest here at the 1,000 mark, 16,000 at 1050. So this is where the call wall is. And they've just breached this call wall. And so if they hold this call wall into earnings, the price action, the dealers are going to have to buy stock. And the more big numbers we see out of the money, the more forced buying the dealers will have into the range. And so we've got at 1,200 here, the 1,200 strike, we've got 5,000 and then plus another 1,000 today. Could they be buying the dip? Absolutely. There's not a ton rolling us up there. But if you said, hey, and invoking Paul Tudor Jones again and said, hey, listen, wow, somebody bought that while we were staring at it. That's bizarre. 1,500. Somebody's got the 1,500s. That's a lot. So
10 days away.
Yeah. Yeah. So if this starts running and it gets close to these numbers, it's going to run even further to the upside because the dealers are going to have to buy the stock, because if you and I go out and buy the calls, they're short the calls. So they've got to buy the stock. And so we see a little bit down there that might give us a little pause. But again, if you're thinking to yourself, I'm going for it. You literally, if you said, let's try and get a total win here. Let's do an unbalanced butterfly. If we do an unbalanced butterfly, we can do the 1,200 to 1,220 to 1,225. It's $3. Now, what's the most you can lose here? You've got your $3 is literally, that's the total cost of it. And what's the most you can gain? Well, this thing could go, to 1,500 and this butterfly will still make money. That's why it's more expensive, because if it goes upward and gets your $20 here and it continues to go upward and they pull back the $5, you've still got, let's say you spend $3 on it, it takes $5 from you. You've still got $12 to the upside. So a $1,200 trade if it continues to run. And so you could do something like that. You could put a little bit of a stink bid in if it pulls back over the next couple of days. The market feels a little jumpy to me.
Yeah, it does.
It does. It feels a little jumpy to me. But that would be a fantastic trade. Look, it's moving all around. You could try to get it for $1.80 and see, $180 for a $1,200 upside.
That seems
I'll
like good
take
risk.
it.
Yeah, I was
Exactly.
going to say that math seems good. That maths, as they say.
Exactly.
Okay. Anne-Marie, really good stuff here today. Look, no Friday session because the market's closed for Juneteenth. So hopefully you have something else.
I want you to listen. This is what you'll see.
That's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be sleeping.
Oh, my dear, I am so sleep deprived. I remain sleep deprived. So I can't wait
am I,
to
but I can guarantee I will still be up at 6:30 and I'll be on the golf course before noon strikes.
Oh, have fun.
We'll
I think my
definitely do
son's going to be doing that with my husband. So I think that'll be fun for them.
Okay. Anne-Marie, thanks for everything. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Okay.
You too. Thanks so much.
Right. That is Anne-Marie. Folks, we're going to be back tomorrow. I can't wait to see all you folks tomorrow. We're going to chase all the shiny things. We're going to take a look at SpaceX. We're going to break down all the news. We're going to do it all. But don't forget, we also have a special guest, not Tim Melvin. We have a special guest, and Tim's very special, but we have a different special guest in the morning. Then we're going to have story trading. And then don't forget, we've got the drift. We've got the new show. Tom Sosnoff, creator of Thinkorswim, Adam Mesh, absolute lights out trader from T3, who's joined us a whole lot. They got a new show right here on Benzinga. Be sure to check it out. Can't wait to do all of that. Folks, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Have a great Tuesday, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bright.